Hello there. How are you? How's it going? What's up, guys? It's your best buddy Squeetee. We're gonna be doing the March Ashes of Creation development update. Just came out. I guess the fighter archetype was the big focus this month. Previewing for Alpha 2, and we're gonna go through it, and we're just gonna go see what's going on. I missed last month, and honestly, what I'm gonna do is tomorrow I'm gonna stream February's um, live stream because I've been busy and I haven't had a chance to do anything. So I'm in the process of remodeling my basement and finishing it, and then I'm going to move my gaming setup back in the basement, make it better, make it my own, and then I'm going to start streaming again. But right now, that's my main focus is finishing it. I'm putting a bathroom in, full bathroom with a shower. I've been running electrical. I've been adding water, obviously. Um, it's been a lot. I haven't done drywall before, so it's kind of been a pain learning that. I'm doing like 4 boards a night, so But my long story short, my plan is to be done before Alpha 2. So, anyways, instead of blabbing too much here, let's jump into it. It's gonna be a long one, I think, this month. So maybe long one, like 2 hours. So right now we're at 43 minutes into the stream, right? Basically when it starts, and the whole thing is 2 hours and 44 minutes. So maybe an hour and a half, hour 45. We'll see how it is. But we get to see the archetype, the fighter archetype, and it should be pretty good. What else? What else? That's about it, guys. So let's. No, don't put ads on YouTube, you stupid. Anyways, let's get into it. Hopefully this works nice and smooth. It's been a while since I've streamed, obviously, so I'm kind of paranoid nothing works.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Glorious Ashes of Creation March Development Update.
I feel like I'm losing my voice.
Having a wonderful month.
Right as I started the stream.
We have been so busy. We have a
I'm
very,
busy too,
very
Margaret.
long live stream for you. So
oh no,
buckle in, grab your snacks.
Well, yeah, get some popcorn, make sure to get some refreshments. Margaret and I are actually talking about whether or not we should include a mandatory intermission in the showcase today. Like a little 5-minute get up.
We can hear her.
Our video editor and community folks and social folks.
We can hear them.
We should have like a little intermission in between.
All right, let's do it. Let's see how it goes.
You don't want any pauses. But we will also, we have a lot planned.
I might go quiet for a while
prepared
during this. We'll see.
Some snacks now, I highly recommend it. But as you can see below, today's plan is we have a few reminders. We have our fighter archetype preview, which I know a lot of people have been really excited about. It is I think one of the longest archetype previews we've had. I think someone posted a snapshot of all the links of all of them. They just keep getting longer and longer.
Well, I mean, as you know, this is
a
byproduct of active development, right? As things get more fleshed out, there's more stuff to talk about and to show. You guys, as you've been watching, are going to see back from the early fighter, basic melee to the ranged weapon, to the cleric, to the, ranger and tank. Like each of these are more and more fleshed. And now you're getting an idea of what Alpha 2, is going to consist of from an archetype perspective. This fighter archetype preview is very detailed. And we can get into more of the work that Brian's been doing and the combat team has been doing on weapon progression skilals as well, and those are pretty detailed now. So
yeah, we mostly show
about an hour and 40 minutes of archetype preview. No worries. I just blurred their ears off. I was trying to fix myself.
Yeah, you did, lady.
I'm trying to adjust my audio to match yours. And I might have just
crazy lady
pushed it a little too loud. But yeah, we are only showing like the great sword in the weapon skill trees, but right. I think that it will still be exciting for y'all to see and check out. And then after that, we do want to just do a quick studio update, and then we have some art updates as well for y'all, and we'll do a little Q&A. We'll probably try to get through that pretty quick because it's going to be a long one today.
Oh boy.
But let's get right into the reminder stuff. The first thing we
I'll be
have here
honest,
today
I really
is, of
hope I
course, our
don't get a
YouTube
work call during
spotlight. Don't
this because I don't
forget
want to leave
to
an
subscribe to
hour
our
and a half
YouTube
in.
and follow us on all the places. If you subscribe to us over on our YouTube channel and leave a comment on our dev update version of the live stream, your spotlight could be, or your comment could be spotlighted. Whew, that was a mouthful. So this one is from Rives Genesis, who wants to know, we know that the normal death penalty incurs a myriad of penalties for the player, but we don't know the numbers behind the penalty. For instance, what percentage of materials do players drop? What percentage of glint is dropped? How severe is the skill and stat dampening? And what is the average time it will take a player to work off XP debt from one death?
That's
There's
a
a lot
good
of
question.
questions in your
Yeah,
one
there's
comment.
a lot of
They were cramming
questions.
it.
Okay, so just to recap real quick there, we're talking
Steven's
about
like, what?
percentage lost, time to recoup
Why are they
that
so
percentage,
quiet today?
the material percentage sunk versus lootable, and then what was the last one?
Glint drop. And then
Glint drop. Got
your
it.
stat
I hate the
dampening.
whole glint thing. I do not like it.
Dampening. Got it.
It,
Okay, so
It seems weird
first
to
I
me.
want to say that the
Yeah,
most
good question, Noah.
important, the most important part of this question is you're asking about values, right? You're asking about percentile values. You're asking about time that it takes to recoup the percentage and whatnot. Any time that we're at a stage we're in now, and that in Alpha 2, we're going to be testing this, those values are the most subject to change. So to be clear, like, we're going to do best estimate, best guess kind of balance pass for Alpha 2 with the full expectation and understanding that the purpose of Alpha 2 is to really dial in those guesses and take into consideration player interaction with those numbers and what feels best. So just off the bat, like, those values are not what we should be focusing on at this stage. But
no.
to give you an idea kind of where we are. First of all, like, when we're talking about dropping items that are in your material inventory, whether that be glint or that be other material types, we're talking roughly between anywhere from 20 to 30% of a stack is going to be lootable on a per death basis. Now, that
Okay.
is a value that can change based off of the types of bags that you are using to carry those materials. In addition, there's other progression that can allow you, and some stats, I believe, that can allow you to mitigate that value also. When we are talking about the percentage that's lost, or excuse me, not lost, the percentage of your level that is accrued as experience debt from death, generally you can expect that that's going to live around 3 to 4% of the level in accrued experience debt per death. However, additionally, there is a way to mitigate that percentage debt, and that is through the resurrection ability that's provided to clerics. So clerics have the ability to resurrect their allies.
Just clerics?
And that resurrection will return a percentage that would have been accrued as experience debt. And that return percentage is predicated on the investment into the res ability, as well as the stat that is the stat of the cleric that is tied to the resurrection effect as well. So those can return percentages, so you can mitigate that to a degree. How long will it take you to recover that, and what stat dampening kind of occurs? Anywhere within a level, if you acquire 100% experience debt for that level, you max out the experience debt. Essentially, you don't ever buy that down. You're probably looking around a 20% stat efficacy dampener, right? So
that's
on average, if you're at 100% debt for a level, and you got to work all that off before you can start progressing in the level again, you're at around 20% overall stat dampening. Time it takes you to regain that
debt, that's
debt
gonna suck,
is predicated on the level you're at, right? And how you XP. So that's a highly variable value.
I can't remember. Is there like de-leveling, losing levels, or do you just go down to
a little bit
to 0
XP?
XP?
Elements of it. I think glint is a new element of that. that wasn't there before when we've answered it. But not some people are newer to our community, so that will be handy for them. And of course, if you want your comment spotlighted on YouTube, head on over to our YouTube channel to get yours spotlighted. We pull them at random.
And just to be clear, I just want to comment here. You made a great point there, Margaret, is that, some people may not be very familiar with these systems. To be clear, the philosophy in Ashes of Creation is that we are a bit more difficult of a game experience. That is what we're trying to accomplish.
That makes me excited.
A lot of MMOs
I
where
like that.
you're either always a winner or it's very easy to fall and get up again. And that's okay. Like those games need a place to exist, and a lot of people enjoy playing them. I historically, as a dungeon master in my tabletop campaigns, can be a bit ruthless. And I think that it's interesting if the difficulty level you're faced with in this open world with many other players forces you to think critically about strategy or about cooperation and teamwork, right? And that the challenges you face are not easily surpassed or bypassed. And so in that regard, a system like, experience debt doesn't necessarily de-level you. You don't want to de-level a player, but we do want to make the fear of loss palpable. We do want to make
that. That's a real nice change in most games. Real. Like Swotor, I never cared if I lost.
To perform better.
It's like, whatever. I don't care.
Succeed, it will feel that much better.
Yeah. So keeping those things in mind. And of course, we have continued to gather your guys' feedback as we move forward and things. And just wanted to make one more note on the questions. For the Q&A segment on the forums, we do try to only pull newer questions. And we do try to give people the answers. If you've asked a repeated question that we've answered before, we try to give you where you can find those answers or even answer them for you in the forums. So just keeping that in mind. But the Q&A one for the spotlight, for the comment is, it's a special outlier. We do have dev discussions, though. We're constantly trying to get your guys' feedback on various different things, whether that's through our gameplay loops or our future gameplay loops that we want to showcase. But this one that we put out is regarding time dedication. And we asked you, how much time do you think someone should invest in order to become an expert at an MMORPG? What are the differences between an expert player versus a casual player? Time commitment, skill, game knowledge, etc. And we gave you some other prompts as well. So definitely, if you have some thoughts on this,
that's an interesting topic too. Because you don't want it to make it too unbelievably difficult
and pop that over because
for time dedicated that
Roshan and
ruin
are going
it for
to
people.
be compiling the data on
most
that
people.
soon.
But you also want to have that niche that's like,
so please
I
head on over
dedicate
there.
my life
And
to
our
the
next one
game.
that we're going to be
Things are
going over
great.
is going to be about item drops.
I'm the
and
best
I know
because
y'all
I'm
better have some thoughts
online
on
all
that
day.
because I know you do.
That's my secret goal, is to get a job I can work from home.
Progression with items.
Make the same amount of money I'm making now.
Stay tuned for that. And without further ado,
And then play Ashes while I'm
into the fighter Archetype
working all
preview.
day.
But with that, I'm going to let Steven do his
maybe just harvest flowers or something.
But I do want to preface that it is very long, so buckle in. Make sure you have your snacks. Take your potty break right now.
Potty break? Oh no, I don't have snacks.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to also say that we did experience success last month in our preview where we launched the YouTube video at the same time on the stream. We'll be doing that again today so that those of you who wish to watch the video in 4K or 2K, I'm not sure which one we uploaded it in, have the opportunity to do so on our YouTube channel. So that's going to be going live momentarily with us. However, remember, please stick around on stream. Make sure you give us your commentary and feedback here. It is a bit of a ritual for me to go back and watch the live stream again and kind of read through the commentary as I don't get to see it well during the live stream because I'm actually chatting with you guys. But yes, so to preface this, obviously, the same is true. This is a work in progress. We are working towards Alpha 2. Particularly UI.
I mean, they're always work in progress. MMOs.
Big time balance.
Good MMOs.
When you guys go into watching these abilities, please understand that these are very finger in the wind approaches to some of the numbers and values within these abilities. That's going to get tinkered with just before we get into Alpha 2. There's going to be a final kind of balance phase before the Alpha 2 begins. And then we'll be iterating on that, obviously, as Alpha 2 is continuing. In addition, performance, right? We are still working on performance. There are still some lighting changes that need to be done.
You coughed already.
And the other thing that I want to talk a little bit about is, like, when you're thinking about feedback, talk about the things you both enjoyed and the things you would like to see done differently, right? In particular, we're talking about mobility of the class. We're talking about utility of the class. We're talking about its role in combat, right? What you expect to see out of the class fantasy that is a fighter. You're going to see the abilities. I think there's 17 or 18 abilities probably here with this fighter. We're gonna go through those in the first like 45 minutes or so, or each ability one by one. We're going to talk about them.
Good.
We're going to talk about their expansion trees as well, and then we're also going to talk about the greatsword and weapon progression. So, hour and 45-ish minutes, or what is it? Hour and
38 minutes.
Hour and 38 minutes. This
and
is
we'll
a big
have the
one.
4K video going up live, and it will be in premiere mode as well. So I think that's already, we're getting that started for you guys. So we'll see you in a moment.
Guys, enjoy.
When they just leave. They're like, all right, we're done for now, guys. We'll be back. Oh, my stupid little robot vacuum's going. And this is the last room it does, so I know it's coming here right now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another day in the world of Vera.
Turn it away.
We have an exciting update for you today. We are going to be showing off one of the most beloved archetypes in fantasy MMORPGs, the fighter archetype. And there has been a lot of work that's been done in progressing this. Obviously, the last time we showed anything remotely fighter related, it was, I think, almost 2 years ago when we did our first basic weapon, melee weapon revamp from Alpha 1. And there were a couple abilities, obviously, that we showed off, but nothing like the showcase we have stored for you today. You are going to get some pretty in-depth understanding of how this archetype has been redesigned and the progression that's going to be available as part of Alpha 2. And we have joining us to talk through that today two of our absolutely stellar and glorious senior designers on the combat team, Trad, Brian. How are you guys doing?
Doing pretty good here. Glad to be back on stream.
I'm doing great. Happy to be here.
Happy to have you both. I know you guys have put in a lot of work and I think really representing pretty well what a lot of people who played fighters and other MMOs love about the class. I'm excited to chat with you about the direction you guys have taken. And obviously, helping to make that a reality, feature team owner on the combat side, as well as one of our senior engineers, Keenan. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yes.
And now that you mentioned it, I think that original fighter stream was actually my first stream.
Was it really?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it was. I think you're right. Yeah, that was a
long time ago.
Kind of obviously changing the direction of melee and combat in general at that time. And now we are seeing some of the fruitful persistence in that direction. So one other thing I want to let you guys know is obviously we are here back again in the Riverlands.
We're always in the Riverlands.
We are actually in front of Oakenbane Keep, which is an area you guys saw at the end of the last live stream from the Commission's live stream. And
I gotta watch that
right when we ended that live stream, a story arc began in this area called An Ancient Violence. And we're going to be going in there and taking a look around. But first, I think what we should do is something that we have successfully done in the past with these showcases is kind of show off each individual ability first, talk about what they do, and give you guys a sense of the archetype and the abilities available to us before we get in to combat with some freaky Goblin Town stuff. So, do I have a volunteer today that could help tank some blows, potentially?
Yeah.
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Awesome. All right. Very cool. So, which should we start with first? What do you guys think?
Martini.
Start with Blitz.
Blitz? All right, let's see. Blitz is the first one on the
let's
bar.
go. Let's go down the bar.
All right, let's do it. Actually, you know what? I'm sorry. Why don't we first start with momentum? That sounds like a good idea because
Sure.
momentum is obviously going to be referenced in Blitz. I was just looking at that, and as well as a number of other abilities. And momentum is essentially a class energy system. Is that
I
right,
like the
Chad?
skill tree actually.
That
It's
is
simple,
correct.
straightforward.
Talk
You don't
about
need
it.
much more.
Yeah,
Really
I'll go into a
don't.
little more detail about that. So one thing that we feel adds a lot to just class identity in general is something that is beyond just an ability. In this case, it's a class or in this case, an archetype resource called combat momentum. So in your top left of the screen here, you'll see that you've got your standard health bar and your mana bar, and then a third empty bar that you'll see kind of build up in combat as we play, that you build up through all the different actions that you're doing through the kit. And you can use this resource to
Sounds like
get passive power to
Sentinel
your
from
character
Star Wars:
based
The Old
on
Republic.
which form you were in, which we'll get into it in a little bit here. And you can
Maybe
also
a
spend
Vanguard.
it for certain unique, especially powerful bonuses.
So, and guys, just to remind everyone, obviously, everything you're going to see here is still a work in progress. We are working towards Alpha 2,
I do like the
especially as it relates to the
Spider-Man
UI,
eyes.
as it relates to VFX.
Spider-Man.
And
Spider-Man.
designs will change, balances will change. So keep that in mind. What we're looking for is kind of direction, right? Direction on this archetype. What do you think looks cool? What other fighter influences have you had in other MMOs that you think could be incorporated as well? That's all part of the discussion. Okay, so momentum is that class energy ability, and as you guys have seen, obviously other classes Trad is talking about has some similar kind of class energy mechanics. Momentum is definitely, it looks like it is as it sounds, right? I mean, this is something that just passively is generating increased stat bonuses, and those stat bonuses
Okay.
we'll get to in a little while how they can be applied based on some individual buffs. So now that we know what momentum is, and it's good to generate that, let us talk a little bit about Blitz. What is Blitz as an ability?
Yeah,
Why did they
Blitz
switch
is
cameras?
your gap closer, your bread and butter gap closer. You pick a target and you charge to the target. There's also a spec option that interacts with the resource if you choose it, that generates some combat momentum, so it lets you kind of open the encounter with a little bit of resource to start.
Okay, so I'm gonna
So anything
charge
that's
the
a
target
square
directly,
Is an
and I'm gonna
ability.
deal
Anything that's a
damage
circle
on
is
arrival,
like a
which
buff,
is physical based.
or
And this
some
spec
sort of
option says
skill
that it
buff or
generates
whatever
20
to that
additional
ability.
combat momentum. Now, presumably, combat momentum does not overflow after it hits the maximum 100 points. Is that correct?
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And then I see under it there is an additional spec option that says killing an enemy with lethal blow will reset the cooldown of Blitz. So the more I kill, essentially, if I use lethal blow, I can just
This
keep that
sounds just
momentum
like a
up,
Sentinel.
generating additional
Or maybe a
combat
Guardian,
momentum, so I can use a
DPS
little bit
Guardian
after,
from,
you know,
Swotal.
potentially landing on the target and replenish that quickly after with executing lethal blow on the target as a kill, and then raging Blitz into the next.
Yeah, it turns you into more of a aggressive mobile character if you go with that. Like you're killing enemies and then you need to pick a new target. He might be far away. You charge to him, kill him, rinse and repeat.
Cool. All right, let's take a look at this. Ooh, nice. Okay, that was cool. And presumably this also scales verticality as well.
Let's test it.
And guys, for the purposes obviously of this demonstration, I've set my cooldowns to 0 so that I can more repeatedly use...
Mushrooms.
Oh, here we go. We got some... Kill those little mushrooms, huh? I don't want to spoil the
I'll nuke
skills.
him for you.
It's a kind of stormy day with this ancient violence in the background. Oh, and by the way, we are playing for the first time in I believe in game, the Renkai orcs. Got my trusty mohawk going on. It is probably the most appropriate race class combination.
All right,
I thought
let's see.
so.
All right, so I'm gonna try to jump. I'm gonna try to scale this thing on you. Let's see here. Oh
Yeah,
man,
yes,
now
that was
is
smooth.
cool.
I like that.
That was awesome.
It'd be
me
cooler
do
if it
that
had like
again.
a little
Yeah, this is kind of
maybe?
an answer you get to like that archer on the ledge that's just free shooting on you, and it's like, oh, I'm just gonna get up there with you.
Oh, my bad there. Let me try this one more time. Oh, very nice.
That's pretty good. Okay.
Okay, so by default, so now, let me try this. Oh, did you just die?
I think that was a bad nuke
My bad.
from someone.
My bad.
No, that was for sure my bad.
That feels really good, by the way. That feels clean.
Yeah, that was
Very
real
clean.
nice.
Oh,
I
there's-
do like that a lot.
Did somebody also die over here?
Just a little mushroom kid.
Oh, a little mushroom. Okay. Okay, Blitz feels really good. Well done with that. I like that. It's super smooth and fluid.
The
it
animation's
feels.
solid. I like
there's
how
not
it's
really
vertical.
any
I wish you had a little more of a
movement interruption
curve
either
in
on
the
contact
animation,
or
so
at
it
the
looks like you're like
initiation.
leaping more than
Which is
like
obviously
you're
one of the most
a rocket ship.
ideal feeling points of
shooting right
any
at 'em.
mobility skill, right? Is that fluidity throughout. Okay, let's talk about the next one. So we have Brutal Cleave.
Yep, this is probably your most bread and butter AoE attack. You can, it does a medium amount of damage. It's not one of your more spectacular AoEs, but it's your primary AoE resource
So it's a
generator, so you're
cleave?
going to be using this a lot to build your momentum. And you also weave this a lot between your weapon combos because your weapon attack finishers will reset seconds off of this cooldown. So if you're like going back and forth between cleaves and weapon attacks, you get to do more of them and have more uptime.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, so this does.
Also, the more targets you hit, so that's why it's really good in AoE situations, is you get more momentum based on how many targets you're hitting.
10 to 20
Got it.
combat.
So
based
after
on-
jumping in
okay.
with Blitz, especially if there's multiple targets, going with a Brutal Cleave is just going to really ramp that momentum. And then it looks like also that this ability, it says shares a cooldown with Overpower. And
Interesting.
it says
All
also
right.
the weapon combo finisher will reduce its cooldown by 8 seconds.
Yep. So you'll be resetting overpowers more frequently, because if we want to just jump over to that one, that's the
Yeah.
single target counterpart to this attack. It's just a single target hit, but it is a shorter cooldown, so you can reset them more frequently, and it's also generating your resource. So it kind of, you're choosing which one to use based on what your enemies are. It's just a single.
Very cool. That looks great, by the way. Scott and Siva have done an amazing job.
Very cool. Very cool.
I'm really happy with how the effects turned out. Like
Oh.
making physical look this cool. Like,
All right, that was a
Yeah.
nice little glide up there.
was a feat.
Right up to that goblin. I do like,
Oh, my bad. Okay. All right. Very cool. I like that. This Brutal Cleave is awesome. Let's talk about Maim. Here, let's go over
is that
here.
a
little
stun?
bit. Right here. Talk to me a little bit about Maim.
So this is a more powerful AoE attack in the kit. Do you have a spec right now for the
Yeah, let me take a
for
look
range?
here. And by the way, Brutal Cleave, I apologize. There's no additional functionality, it looks like, on Brutal Cleave. But we did talk also about...
But it looks like you need it.
Overpower's
to
on the
unlock
right
other
column.
stuff.
It's an auto-granted ability, so it's not going to be in this tree. like
Oh,
if you,
got it. There
yeah,
we
there
go.
you go.
Okay, so it
So
doesn't have
this-
any spec options either.
That's right.
But Maim does. And should I turn Maim off? Let me turn the spec option off first, because this actually extends the distance of the projectile by essentially launching that piercing projectile. Is that right?
Okay.
Yeah, let's take
So
a
it
point
adds
out
a
of
little
that first,
distance
and
on-
then
alright.
we'll just kind of look at the base effect.
Okay.
So this is just a cone in front of you. You're hitting in a cone in front of you. It's pretty heavy hitter. You're not resetting the cooldown of this, so you need to be more, aware of when you're using this. But it also has the added effect of it will do more damage against recently tripped enemies. So that's where you really want to save this, is if you've tripped someone, or if someone else has tripped an enemy, you capitalize on it by basically smashing down on them with this.
Okay. I like the combos.
That looks so good. Love it. That is awesome. Okay, so let's spec into the projectile. Now this is going to give you obviously a lot more range.
How much more range? Okay.
Yeah, so-
Oh, that's real far.
Oh,
This adds a piercing projectile on top of the attack, so you're still getting that frontal AoE hitbox that's staying the
Okay.
same, but
And I
you're
love
adding
that
a
line that
projectile on
goes
top
off
of
in the
it.
distance.
And the cool thing here too is the projectile gets the bonus of the damage bonus from the trip, so you could actually combo into a target that you see trip from range with this as well.
That's real nice.
One reason this is a spec option is some fighters will want to be using this in a way that you don't want to pull a mob in the distance, so it's just kind of an added layer of skill if you're using this in a really cluttered environment. But it's kind of a trade-off.
that feels really good. That is awesome.
Do it again,
Also,
Steven. Do it again.
There we go. Okay, cool. I love MAME. That is an awesome
don't
ability.
do it again.
Let's
Fine.
talk about Battlecry.
This is definitely one of my personal favorites. It doesn't do damage, but it's got some really cool effects going on with it. So, do you want me to start talking about it, or do you
Yeah,
want to
sure.
use
No,
it
yeah,
first?
you're good.
Okay, cool. So I love this as an AoE opener. What it does a few things. One, it riles your allies, specifically your party members. It will also apply a status effect called Shaken to your enemies.
Tripped. Cool.
And then it will generate a certain amount of combat momentum per ally that you riled. And then just to elaborate, because people are like, what is Shaken? What is riled? Well, Shaken right now is a debuff on enemies that whenever they take damage, they have a small chance to become tripped. So there's some good combos with this where you go into a multi-hit AoE and you can capitalize on that. And then by triggering trip status, that flows into MAME really well. So that's one of the combos I like to do is shout into a whirlwind, which you'll see in a bit, into MAME to do extra damage against targets that have procced that effect.
Yeah, these are feeling great. Wow, I do like the battle cry. That is probably
So you
the
cry and
most
then you
standard feeling
So you got it. Debuff.
expected action on behalf of the fighter, some type of battle cry effect, and this one captures it well. I love that. That's cool. Okay, we saw Whirlwind back a while ago, and talk to me about what's changed about Whirlwind.
So Whirlwind is actually pretty close to what it's always been. It's an AoE channeled attack that ramps up in speed the longer you hold it. There's also a spec option on the right if you want to pick that gives a final upward swing at the end that has some additional bonuses to it.
Okay. So let's do it without the spec first.
I like that they're doing that. That they're dropping it back so you can see.
All right, cool.
All right,
so it exits out after essentially the spinning there. Let's see.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm out of mana.
Pretty standard little AoE spin.
Yeah, you're also able to move during it, as you're seeing here.
That's
so
cool.
It's pretty
That's
nice
cool.
to be able to just kind of use this while you're moving through a pack of mobs.
Got it. So let me spec now into the option that I could invest additional points into this particular skill if I wanted to give myself a finishing blow, essentially.
Oh, one big
nice.
hit at the
Okay.
end. All right.
So you get a big hit at the end.
Just said that.
Also, you can stop this at any time. So you're seeing him do the full channel, but if it's I want to,
Not
cancel
be
out of it
spinning.
early. Let's say one thing I'll do from time to time is if I shaken enemies, and then this ability is kind of good at tripping enemies because it's hitting really rapidly. You might see a trip and you can cancel out of it into a MAME early if you want to show off that combo.
All right. Do that. Do
Into
it,
main.
Steven.
Yep, let's do it.
No. You gotta yell.
There you go.
Oh, nice. That's cool. That feels good.
You didn't listen, Steven. You didn't listen.
Oh, that's so cool. That's awesome. All right, cool. Whirlwind feels good too. All right, Cataclysm is
Steven,
another one that we
Steven,
saw
Steven.
a while ago. What's changed with Cataclysm?
Yeah, a lot has changed with this one. It used to be this
heavy
big
damage?
hammer that would appear over your head, and then it hit an AoE kind of far away from you. Overall,
Oh,
it ended
yeah, I
up feeling a
remember
little awkward to use. We wanted to turn this more into like your big frontal AoE damage. So this is like the other end of the
It's
spectrum,
like the fighter is like
stronger than
super
main.
heavy with
It's just a big ultimate like AoE
AoEs.
attack essentially. It's pretty straightforward.
All right, no additional spec options here. And by the way, for those of you out here, that are wondering about kind of how augments, even though we haven't seen a lot of augment work being done, a lot of this tech is foundational in applying these types of spec options, which augments essentially are as well, but they can more radically change fundamentally what the ability is. So that whirlwind, adding an additional component to the ability, which is that climactic whirlwind essentially, could be considered functionally as an augment, an additional effect applied to the ability. Okay, let us showcase that new Cataclysm.
That upswing for that big hit. Oh, hello.
Oh, that feels much better.
Show it again. Show it again.
Yeah, that's cool.
This is also another way to apply Shaken to enemies as well. It and Battlecry are kind of on separate longer cooldowns, so you might find yourself sort of going back and forth between these interchangeably.
Yeah, but you don't see that
And you can
hammer
change
as
the
animation.
direction here mid wind up.
Yep.
I do like that.
Nice. I like that. Obviously, the granularity in that.
Boom.
Yeah, it gives you a little more agency. Like you're not just locked in place because it is a full rooted ability. You cannot move during this, but being able to turn gives you a little bit more, control over what happens as things might change
I'm
mid-cast.
tired. I don't know. It's been a long week.
I totally agree. I love the freedom feeling there. And that's obviously something that, is a philosophy and a standard that's taken across a lot of the classes as it comes to rooted ability use and whatnot. That freedom of agency, that movement is core to kind of the melee experience and general skill usage. All right, next up we have Rupture.
Yep, so this is an interesting one. It's a single target attack, and it puts a temporary debuff on your target where if they are moving, while that effect is on them, they will build up wounded stacks. We can talk about
That's a lot of blood.
We can talk about this as effect in a moment here, but at the
talk
end
about
of
the
it,
fact that he should have literally 0 blood pressure remaining after rupturing that much blood? Oh
sure,
my God.
we can build in that mechanic. But also you'll notice at the end of it, he takes a big hit of damage.
That's a lot of blood.
And the idea is that damage will scale with how much wound they have on them. So this will have kind of some inter-synergy going on with itself, but also there will be other sources of wound that you could kind of synergize this with this for further for that big delayed hit at the end.
Wow. Okay. So the wounds are essentially these stacking debuffs that get applied.
Okay, that's cool.
gonna, you said, decrease their healing received.
Correct.
And also increases damage taken from all sources?
From physical sources.
From physical sources, got it. Very cool.
Oh, that's cool. It'll benefit.
Yep. And the more you build that up, because this is actually a stacking thing, it's not just like a single status effect. So the more you're wounding the target, the more and more debuffed their healing, incoming healing becomes. So it's one of those things where if a fighter is on your target that you're trying to keep alive, you want to peel a fighter off that target, because the longer they get that uptime, the harder it's going to become to heal them up.
Makes sense. I mean, so we might actually have to have
cool.
tank guards
That's
on.
awesome. Okay.
Or,
Love Rupture. Also
heal
love
guards like we used to
an
do
insane
in
amount of blood that's happening.
SW Star Wars Galaxies. We used to have to have
Overpower.
a guy just to protect
Talk to me about
our healers.
Overpower. What do we got here?
Or 2 or 3
We
guys.
talked about this one. This was the
that's right.
the resource generator.
That's right. And that one doesn't have any additional spec options. The Rupture also looks like, did that one have spec options?
It does not, but if you go in, so you will see kind of to the right of Rupture, there are some things that it unlocks. Below it, Maim actually. If you go to Maim and then to the right, there are some things over here that you get to unlock as well, which kind of synergize with Rupture.
That's cool.
For example, Brutality allows you to start applying wound stacks through your weapon combos. So if you really want to lean into that
Nice.
utility,
Yeah.
like I'm a heal debuffing spec fighter, right? Like that's my thing that I do. You could go into this, and now your weapon attacks, in addition to generating momentum, are also applying wounds to the target.
Love it.
I like that.
And then this one adds more wound specialization if you go down.
Oh wow, okay, so this gives Overpower and Brutal Cleave wound application.
Yeah, it's basically what it's kind
Okay.
of doing is it's tying your wounds to the way that you're normally building momentum if you want to kind of dual spec into both.
That's cool. Wow.
I like that. Like,
Strong.
it could be a soft spec. Like,
Okay,
primary builds
let's talk
momentum, and
about
then
this
secondary spec kind of
Apparent crippling
adds little
blow.
wounds on.
Yeah, sure. So crippling blow. This one's pretty simple. This is a standard single target snare. So a pretty common combo you'd use is like blitz into a crippling blow if you're like getting on top of a target that's trying to kite you. Like if you're charging up on
I mean,
a
that
ranger
makes
who's
sense.
like the last thing they want is you in their face, like snaring them is gonna force them
How
to
long is that
maybe use
snare,
a
though?
gap opener because they're not able to outrun you.
Oh, Steven, hit him again with the snare. The boot. Give him the boot.
That's cool. So crippling blow is pretty strong actually, especially when it comes to PvP. I mean that's a pretty significant
That's needed.
reduction in movement speed.
You need a snare like that.
Yeah, it is single target, so you do have to choose wisely who
3
you're
seconds.
snaring. But it's pretty nice to be able to just lock a target down, not like hard CC, but just
Now the question is,
make it
the
easier
one
to
that was
stick on
the
top of
bleed
them.
effect or the wound one, if you slow them down and then wound
Very
them,
cool. All right, crippling blow, and then we have lethal blow.
will that
This is another
less
one of my
stats?
favorites. This is the execute of the kit. It's single target as well, but the lower health they are, the harder it's going to hit. So this is really like you're trying to do as much damage with your other abilities as possible, and then when you get them like within that kill threshold, you're just gonna hit them with this, hope for a crit maybe, and finish them off. Use it. There you go.
Oh my god.
It's just like murder.
This does have a couple spec options as well. One you kind of went over. If you kill them with that and you have the spec that resets blitz, you could immediately blitz again, even if it was off cooldown when you
So
got the
you
kill.
murder someone, and then you go next one and zoop, right over.
But if you want to
blitz.
open your skill tree here, you can look at the other
That'd
one.
be cool.
Let's talk about it. And the crippling blow did not have any spec options, but lethal blow does.
Yeah, so a lot of the time, I've played games where executes hit really hard, but you waste a lot of the damage, and it's like, oh, I saw a cool big number, but it didn't really do anything. It's kind of wasted. This spec option lets you make use out of that, so it turns any overkill damage into like health and mana return to you. The
Oh, that's
cast.
awesome.
That's
and you know
cool.
what I love
So it's
about
like a
that,
passive
at
heal.
least as it relates to PvP, is that you do not have granularity insight to the opponent's hit points. So you're really rolling the dice if you want to maximize efficacy on this consuming lethal blow.
Yeah, that's how I've been using it a lot.
Yes.
Like sometimes I pull it off, other times I don't.
Love it. That's super cool. I like that interaction there. Okay, let's go up here. We got Blood Fusion.
Yeah, so kind of like that lethal blow spec we were using. This is another way for the fighter to get health and mana back to itself.
Okay.
That's kind of one way that the fighter sustains itself because it's in the thick of things, right? It's a primary target.
So you
You've
can
got to
almost
be
build
in
like a
danger to be doing a
passive
lot of what your kit does. And this is like
heal
one way
spec.
that fighter can stay in the fight. And if you pop this, it's a big cooldown. But for the next 6 seconds, any damage you do will have a % returned as health and mana to you.
I would do that with lethal blow. Pop
So let
it,
me
lethal
somebody
blow.
beat me for
you'll
like
get a ton.
500.
In theory. In theory.
Go ahead, Tread.
Okay, I don't want to do it all at once.
Multiple 500s, like 3 500s.
There you
All
go.
right, and then I am going to deal some damage here to see how much I get back.
Yep. So that last hit missed the window, but you got a good chunk from your other attacks.
Okay.
The
Makes
value
sense.
of this is super variable based on when you use it. So if you pop it in the right moment, you've got a lot of targets around you. You're like popping your AOE's. Like this is going to get
The
a ton more
AoE
value.
would be nice if you can AoE a large group and just destroy them all with that. You could
Cool.
get a
I
ton
like
of health
that.
back.
So it's an insta cast that can happen in the middle of any ability activation.
Right.
Nice.
You could like start your Cataclysm and then pop that right before it lands.
That's cool. That is super.
That'd be a little difficult, but you can do it, Steven. I believe in you.
Oh yeah, I see that. Okay,
That was
very
pretty good.
nice. And I like the effect. Effect looks great.
It's got more of that blood theme.
Yes. I also love the audio for it. It's like you're consuming it a bit. All right, let me grab whatever this is.
Steven, why are you looting the dead body?
A bunch of stuff. I think that was on your corpse. I'm sorry, Brian. Don't do that right in front of you.
My
It's
loot.
disrespectful. Okay, cool. Let's skip Exert for now. Let's go to Lunging Assault.
Yeah,
Okay.
so this is like going to be one of your first spenders of your resource. This spender is more for mobility. It's a smaller spender, but whenever you use this, you will dash forward a short distance and do an attack at the end. And it's pretty freely usable. It doesn't have a very long cooldown. It's just spending your resource. So the more resource you're generating, the more you're able to kind of reposition and dash around the battlefield and get some extra damage out there.
I see. Now, obviously, utilizing the resource with Lunging Assault, because you're dealing instances of damage to enemies that you impact, you have an opportunity, if executed well situationally, that you can actually probably have a net gain with this if there's a huge amount of enemies, like a train or something, right?
Yeah, it would probably take a lot of enemies to actually get a profit, but you can at least mitigate the cost through that spec choice
Yeah.
of if you're hitting enemies, you can get resource back, and therefore you're getting to do this more, and you're also not losing the value of your resource that you're getting passively through your forms, which
Right.
again we'll get to soon.
Cool. Okay, let's try this. There we go. And now I don't need a target for this. I can just kind of...
Nope, freely.
Let me
It's a
generate.
reposition.
Alright. That's cool. Oh, okay.
Hit it again. It's
So
not
it's kind
that
of
big of a distance.
not too far a distance there.
Yeah, it's meant to like be more of a repositioner where you're dancing around your target. You might be zipping back and forth between different enemies in melee.
Right.
Whereas you have other tools for going longer distances. You have
So-
blitz. You have the next
okay,
one that's
okay.
about to come up from here. So those are going to be more of your long distance mobility skills.
Alright, let me try this.
Wait, so we got a blitz and this other little thing, and then a leap strike here?
Strike.
Yeah. So this is the most
Oh,
free
God, look at that
mobile.
distance.
Yeah, it's very far, and it doesn't require a target, unlike Blitz. And you're also going to basically deal damage and AoE around it. So it's just a more powerful but less frequently usable gap closer / opener if you even decide to use it as an opener.
Oh my God!
that was a pretty good leap. That was.
I am
that
the
was, that was a hell of a
Juggernaut.
jump. Juggernaut.
Oh, that was so cool. I love that.
Yeah, that's a fun one to use. It's
Holy smokes.
definitely more AoE focused.
And again, guys, I am using 0 cooldowns right now just so I can demonstrate the abilities. Well, I know you're all thinking like, what? This character's just going to fly around the battlefield.
I mean,
That's
that'd
not
be
what's
cool.
happening.
Literal rocket.
I like that animation a lot more.
You can
than the
actually
other
use
blitz.
this too to go up on ledges. Like if you were to try and get up on one of these ledges we were trying earlier,
Yeah.
you don't even need a target to use it.
Let me just check. Are there any spec options here?
Not currently, but there will be.
All right, let me try to jump up on here.
Oh, just
that was
missed.
too short. I was too short. My bad. Hold on, let me try it again. I'll try it again.
Stupid animation.
Actually, and usually I've had more success when I'm covering gaps rather than actually like trying to go up different verticalities. But sometimes, yeah, it works.
Oh, we did it. We did it, boys. It happened. Very cool. All right, let's
what
talk
if I
a
want
little
to
bit
jump to a
about.
target with that? Can I like double tap the ability
I
and do
fixed
it?
time of day, but it feels like it's getting darker. I don't know. Let's talk a little bit about next up, these different forms that I'm seeing here.
Yeah, so these are probably the biggest contributors to your combat momentum resource. You can spend momentum, but it's a resource that's primarily meant to be built up and maintained because of the bonuses that these forms provide. So if we want to just look at one of the first ones here, we can go into a little more detail on how those work.
Okay.
I'm actually going to make it a little bit... Whoops. My bad. I wanted to change the time of day slightly. Get some better light over here.
Steven, don't worry about it.
There we go. Apologies. Okay. Which one am I switching to?
Anyone you want. We'll
Let's
get through all of them.
go to, I am playing a Renkai, so ferocity sounds good.
Ferocity.
All right. So
He's
now you'll
little
notice in the
furry.
top left here, he is in this form. So as long as you don't change forms, you will permanently remain in the form of ferocity. We actually renamed this recently, so you'll see Tempest there, but that went through a rename. So while in this form, your momentum will increase your attack speed the higher your momentum is. So for every point of momentum that you've got, your attack speed's going up. So you're basically ramping up that attack speed as you generate.
So where I see right now, I'm at 86.9.
Yep.
Let's generate some momentum.
Your weapon combos are pretty good for generating momentum as well, especially your finishers.
That was pretty good. I do.
There you go.
The combat feels a little better.
86.9 has
It's-
gone to
It's still
99.2.
Yep.
Up, and it's dropping. Very nice.
Yep. You got to stay in combat to keep the
It's still
resource
a little
going.
weird, the legs shifting on their own kind of deal.
And that's
I
really
know
what the
it's what
fighter's
you
all
gotta
about,
do,
is like
but
ramping up,
it's
being
still-
in
I don't know,
that
feels
combat
odd.
momentum, hence the name. And when the fight's
Wow, it feels like
it's-
that the attack speed is even increasing each individual ability speed as well.
Yep.
That's huge. That is super
That is
cool.
pretty big.
So if you were to change forms, you would lose the attack speed bonus, but immediately gain the bonus of the corresponding form. So if you want to shift
I'm
me into
so hungry, son.
maybe a form of celerity here.
All right, and that is on Shafi.
So unbelievably.
There you go. Now run around. You might have to blitz him again. You probably need to get some mana and then build it up a little more. But
Oh, my bad. Let me get mana.
this one increases your movement speed. So this lets you just move around the battlefield a lot more.
Mana generation is
nimbly.
really slow,
Um,
I've noticed.
So if you
In my
need to
opinion.
close the gap a little bit and your gap closers are on cooldown or whatever, this is a good way of traversing the field a
I
bit
mean,
faster.
if it's
Yeah.
a way to
Wow,
teach
this
you
is
to
good. Yeah,
not
this is
just
pretty
burn
quick.
through abilities and you gotta like
That's
play
a
smart and
significant speed boost.
put some filler basic attacks in there, then you can use your specials. That'd be cool. But I don't see them doing
And then the
that.
third one is more of a defensive option, a bit more situational, but it is a disable resistance form. This is form of fluidity, and while you're in it, you are much more difficult to be CC'd. So you'll be more resistant to stuns, to roots, trips, pretty much anything that falls into the CC category.
Try to sleep me or something?
Sure, I'll give it a shot. There's
So,
a chance that I'll still
If
hit you.
you're in
but
this
let's
herd one,
see.
the swift one,
I can't
it's
actually.
more
I'm
like a
recording.
burst
no,
and
it's
get in
okay,
there
it's
and
fine.
PvP.
All right, so this
kill
is
the healer.
basically when you want to to literally be unstoppable through CC effects, like this is going to be a 40% reduction on that. That's pretty powerful.
Yep,
That
and
is
again,
real
all the
big.
numbers are kind of in tune or being tuned. We just, when we're testing these out, we want them to feel impactful, just to validate that they are, cool things, and then we start to balance to tone that back down.
Very cool. All right. Last but most certainly not least is an ability called God Mode. I mean, excuse me. What's it called? I'm sorry. Exert?
This is Exert. Yes, it's my
Yeah,
earlier.
I know your segue. Actually, it's a great segue.
Yep.
So speaking of balance and what will be happening, obviously, with Alpha 2 and even before Alpha 2, we'll be balancing some of this stuff. So just keep that in mind. However, segue here into God Mode, aka Exert. We have what?
So if we go over here in the skill tree to the left, Exert, this is a very high cost, very high payoff, essentially super mode that you can go into, and you're rapidly spending your momentum while you're in this form. It's all or nothing. You can't turn it off. Once you pop this, you will stay in this mode until your momentum is fully drained, and then you're gonna have to build it all the way back up again. Meanwhile, you're getting increased attack speed. You're getting CC immunity, and whatever else it says in here.
We've got 20% increased attack and movement speed, and immunity to disabling effects while active.
So if you can kind of draw the connection, this is like you're taking the three forms, which are CC resistance, movement speed, and attack speed, and getting just all three of them in a huge burst for a small window of time. Very small window.
Yes.
Yep.
And that small window is potentially, as it states here, at least it would be about 5 seconds if you're fully charged up on momentum, because it's essentially ticking at 20% per second. Is that right?
Yep.
That's a lot.
And again, all the numbers are super tunable.
Absolutely.
We will be tuning these numbers, but we're just kind of putting them in a place where we can play test them. And as we get more effective with these, it's like, okay, now we're seeing the ceiling of how powerful these things are. We're going to bring it back a little bit.
Let's talk about its spec options.
Yep. So we've got one that resets your cooldowns based on how much momentum you had at activation. So if you use this at 50 momentum, you would take about half of your cooldowns off. But if you use it at full momentum, you would reset all your cooldowns, so you could just go straight into your rotation upon popping this.
Pain.
And then this one is lets it act as a CC break as well.
So this, okay, I like this. This is a nice comment. So you get increased combat momentum with movement, attack speed, and the immunity to disabling effects. And it becomes a CC break on activation if you're under the effects of CC. And depending on the amount, percentage-wise, of momentum you have available at time of activation, potentially will reset your ability cooldowns as well. This is obviously, guys, I know a lot of you out there right now are just probably going insane in chat, and I'm assuming that. This is where we balance. Everything's going to be balanced, right? This is just the initial find the fun, and we're going to work around balance here. But this is a cool ability. This is literally like super I am a fighter, hear me roar.
So
glory.
If I have full momentum.
No, I haven't.
Gotta show it.
Yeah, let's do this. So I guess in order to properly do this, I should actually set my cooldowns back.
Do you have it fully spec'd?
I do. I have it fully
It'll
spec'd.
instantly reset.
Keenan, do you have condemn on your bar?
And grab it real quick.
Okay, that's a stun. We'll have Keenan condemn you, and then you'll just break out of it after your full momentum.
Yeah, let me start generating that. Love that shield effect. Oh, and I gotta get off this form of fluidity. Let's go to
ferocity.
Yeah, let's do ferocity.
I wonder if it's going to be viable to change forms
blitzing for a head start on
fight,
momentum,
or if it's going to be like a hindrance that it'll slow you or stun you or
keep an eye on your mana. Let me know when you're ready to be stunned.
Okay, I'm almost up there. But before you stun me, let me start doing some abilities.
I am feeling that wound.
Wait, just don't kill him.
No, I'm not. All
Oh,
right,
there's a
now you can
beacon.
stun me.
All right, stun him up. All right, use it. Oh, you don't have... Did you not spec it?
Oh, I thought I did.
Oh,
I
Steven.
thought I did spec it. Let's try it again.
Why
Well,
don't you
let's
just
check the tree. If
Yeah, let me double check.
there might be an issue there.
Did I spec it? Did I spec it? I do have it specced.
That's weird. That used to work.
Let's double check. Hold on. Let's try one more time, and I'll click on it this time.
But it was grayed
In
out,
case
so
there was
what's
some finger
clicking going to do,
shenanigans happening.
Steven?
All right, I'm ready.
I think.
Nope.
Yeah. Oh, I had an expression failure. Sad.
All right, well, let's use it without that. That used to work.
My bad. Guys, welcome to Bugs.
Yep.
That's okay. Okay.
Now it's balanced.
Let's show. Yeah, now it's balanced. See, the game wouldn't even allow that level of imbalance. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, let me generate this up again. Let me get some.
So it takes quite a bit to... Oh, never mind. There's some big hits that'll really push up that
Okay.
momentum there pretty
Give
quick.
myself some mana. And now let's use Shift 2.
Oh, so you can keep it going by using abilities.
Oh, that's cool. I
There you
love
go.
that effect.
Get
That
extra
effect
like
looks great.
second or two out of it. But it seemed to
Let's
drop
show the effect
faster
one more
than...
time while I'm not kind of moving around and doing stuff.
Hmm.
Okay. And let me set my cooldowns real quick one more time. And can I get myself max momentum? Or no?
There's a debug ability for it, but I would
that's
just say blitz into overpower, and then weapon combo is the fastest way to do it. That's main. Hit your 8 button.
There we go. Alright.
Alright, hold still.
I just keep this going all the time. I got no cooldowns.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now
you
we're
can
cheating.
keep it going for a while.
That is so good. Oh, it's so good.
And because of that skill point, it resets all abilities, so you can reuse them
Very cool.
after you just
All right,
built
well, that is a
At the
very,
moment,
let me
that's
just
pretty-
say, I'm
that's
sorry,
a
let me
little
speak
OP.
on behalf
Just
of what I
a-
assume
just
is
a
our
wee
audience
bit.
saying, holy shit. That is a cool class. I mean, the archetype feels great. The movement, the fluidity is there. It feels really good just to play with these skills. Well done, guys. Well done. For Alpha 2, this is feeling nice
So glitchy.
as a fighter and as melee. Obviously, that mobility is going to be king when it comes to traversing the battlefield and being that juggernaut class fantasy feeling. I think is really captured well here. What do you guys say we take a look at Oakenbane and kind of work through that area and show
Let's
people off
do
a
it,
little bit
boys.
of the world of Vera?
Yep, let's
My
put the
phone.
kit to the test.
Yeah,
Did you
please.
want to talk about the weapon first?
Oh
or-
my God, you're
good
right.
call.
Thank you. Yes. Okay, you guys obviously see here we have got a
What'd you
pretty
forget,
beefy
Steven?
looking
What'd you forget?
sword that I have equipped, and Brian and the combat team have been working a lot on skill progression trees for weapons. You saw a hint of that in its very bare bones form with the Ranger update, but there's been a lot of work towards that weapon tree. Let's talk a little bit about it.
Yeah. So we've been revamping the weapon tree entirely. So
All
the
right.
first point of progression here is we wanted to give people a choice in how long their weapon combo actually is. So you've got the base weapon combo that you start with on the greatsword, which is 3 attacks, and you can extend that out into 4 attacks if you want. In addition to that, both the third hit and the fourth hit can have proc finisher attacks, and those proc finisher attacks can trigger additional effects on you, such as an additional heal effect, a boost of momentary attack speed.
And I'm looking here, Brian. So when I go over to the left-hand side, and it has me to kind of an option, right? I'm unlocking this node and selecting down one of these 4 choices. And for those of you who are watching and perhaps don't recall the use case here of these weapon skill trees, these are separate progression trees that you unlock and advance within as you are using and adventuring with a particular weapon type, right, Brian?
Correct. And yeah, they'll advance faster than your archetype tree, so you'll be able to level up a couple weapons as you're going along.
Yeah, and that's
cool. I like that.
Actually,
I do like that.
And that section that you're looking at now is probably the most work in progress part. I still need to revamp this passive section. It's pretty weak overall, but yeah, this version 0, you could choose between different modifications that are best fit your class. You could choose between a little bit of deflection bonus, which is avoidance, some I think crit damage, accuracy.
So each node you're kind of choosing a different. Oh, I see. Very cool. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, right now they're all the same. I'm gonna mix up that a little bit and make it more interesting with some different capstone passives and such. But yeah, this side's way more interesting, way more fleshed out. So what you just clicked on there is the first proc that you'll get access to. And you have a choice between 3 of these things. The first is Swordmaster Swiftness. This is a temporary boost of attack speed. So if you get this proc, and then you can instantly use another ability or continue in your combo if you want, and it'll trigger that next ability all the quicker.
And to talk a little bit about, obviously cool. Reiterating again, kind of, these proc effects, these essentially are the incentive loops for why weapon combo attacks, which are basic weapon attacks, are the fillers between rotational effects, because you are getting, as you unlock progression within these trees, you're getting substantial benefit from procs that occur by using the basic weapon combo.
Okay.
Right. I should speak on that a little bit more in like a general concept. So we want to encourage weaving between abilities and weapon combo attacks, and we're going to do that in a few different ways that you'll be seeing in this stream. The first way is archetype weapon combo interactions. You've already seen some of that where the finishers give you a burst of momentum, and Overpower and Brutal Cleave get reduced or reset cooldowns on combo end as well. The second type of interaction is weapon combo to ability proc synergies, such as direct damage on the next ability hit after a combo finisher, or a status effect set up for ability use. And the third version is ability to weapon combo proc synergy. So this is deeper in the tree. Your abilities will have a chance to set up your next weapon finisher with additional effects.
Very cool. That is awesome. So let's see, which one should I go for here?
I'd go with the swiftness for the fighter.
All right, let's do it. Effective
Makes sense.
Huh?
Yeah, that's actually really strong because it's a very short burst of attack speed, so the duration's really good there, and also the proc chance. I'd probably max out the proc chance one in the middle, and then get the duration. That's probably strongest for the swiftness.
All right. And now I've already gone and unlocked this path here of the extended finishers.
Yeah, you could probably take some points out of the extra damage nodes and then put them into...
I've never heard you say that before. This is
well, it's only because you're getting even more damage through the procs, potentially.
Okay.
It's all more math and less math, right?
That's true. That is true.
And another thing here is it all depends on your build. All depends on your build, and you'll see that more in this next choice here, which is a lot more interesting. So that first one was like a kind of introduction to the proc system. It's kind of a more just additive extra thing. This is kind of not forcing the weaving, but encouraging the weaving a little bit harder. So first we got second strike. So your next ability use after a weapon combo finisher has an additional damage proc that occurs. And then a good choice for DPS is the one right below that, which is perfect timing.
What
So
do you
the
guys
next
think of
ability
this?
you cast
Steel
will have
trees and
reduced
stuff.
cooldown. So it's kind of like, do you care about that reduced cooldown for your rotation, or do you not? And you just take the additional damage. And the third option
Leave a
there,
comment,
unfortunately,
let
it's
me
not
know.
working yet.
What do you think?
This is expanding upon that status effect interaction stuff. That's what we're working on imminently, getting that built into the weapons. But whenever this is working, it'll apply burning to your target and have additional interactions for the
love
mage.
that. That's cool. That's awesome. And now you guys are starting to see, obviously, a lot of these progression trees getting implemented now. And this is not just obviously for the greatsword, but you have done this in parity with the other existing weapon classes for part of A2's entrance criteria, correct?
Yeah, that's one of the really cool things about our game is the amount of weapon choice that's going to be present. All the weapons will be hopefully viable for almost every archetype, because you can specialize it in a certain way that will benefit you and what your archetype role is. There'll obviously be certain things that are better for other things, like a two-hander is going to do a lot of damage, for instance, and you might want to shield if you're taking a lot of the damage, but still, if you want to break that mold a little bit, you'll have options available.
Just to expand on that a little bit too, it's like not even just like archetype and weapon synergy, but also it's like you're building based on your expected or intended comp that you're always going to be or often going to be running. It's like, let's say your friend rolls a mage and it's like, I want to build with my friends so I know they are a fire mage, and that's where your burning blade example comes in. Like there's going to be more stuff like that so that you're just kind of playing off each other.
That segues really good into the next proc that we have here. So this is your abilities setting up your next weapon combo. So we've got 3 options here. The first is Keen Edge. So whenever this procs, your next weapon combo will have a 100% chance to crit. The next option, which if you have a bard in your party, you might not want this one, but it causes your next ability finisher to restore some mana to yourself. And then the third one is, and we're not sure about where this is going to end up. It might get moved over to the tank tree or the mace tree, but it procs a bit of temp health on the next weapon finisher. It's a pretty sweet tank option.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I think I'm going to go for the Keen Edge, though.
Yeah, that's a solid choice.
All attack speed crit.
Yup.
Yeah, I feel like I want to
DPS beast mode.
Okay, I respect this app now. Very cool. That's awesome.
Right, awesome.
This is a, I think people, just the complexities that you guys are, again, talking about, like obviously we've been talking about weapon skill trees and archetype design, since we first were talking about Ashes back in 2017. And now we're seeing fruition to, part of the systems that we are going to be debuting as part of Alpha 2, you guys are going to be able to get your hands on this and kind of give us that active feedback. How does this level of depth and complexity grant you, the player, more granular control and choice over how your role that you're playing fits into the greater comp of the party setting, the raid setting, or solo gameplay, and your itemization selections, right? Like all of that is a level of depth, I think, that players want to exist in space-wise, because it gives them the freedom to really define the way they're approaching the difficulty challenge that is the game, and that is combat in general. That's super cool, and especially like this breadth of options, right? Even the horizontal choices here, like that creates a very interesting playground of rock paper scissors effects between the multitude of archetype skill progression and weapon type skill progression that you're going to experience even in a PvP setting. And it also is just more levers that we get to pull on the encounter design section as well for PvE. Very cool. Well done, guys. This is I think I speak for the community when I say great progress. Very great progress, and Alpha 2 is shaping up to be not just a great testing experience, but a lot of fun, I think. obviously the
I
world
agree with what
and the
Steven
combat
just said.
design here.
It should be real good. It should be
The
fantastic.
last thing I want to highlight is the work that we've done on the animation side with the weapon combos. So if you actually do your weapon combo in place here, we can see it. We can see whenever you get. So you got a stab hit there. Whenever you get stab hits on the third and the fourth hit, those are actually procs. So if you connect with the second hit of that proc hit, you'll receive the additional effects. But you actually have to connect with a monster or player to receive the effect.
So we
And I
can't
think the
dodge
proc
it.
rate is at a static 25% right now. We're looking at other ways to scale that, like maybe it scales with stat, or maybe it scales with additional nodes, but right now it's kind of low. Especially if you're unlucky, like Steve.
I know, really. What's going on here?
Come on.
I'm sure we'll see it in combat.
There it is.
There
There's
it is.
one.
Okay.
And these guys, we're still missing some effects that are going to help drive what this. Oh my god!
Smoked.
I'm so sorry. I just was like relentless attack.
Yeah, the momentum and the bonus attack speed on the greatsword stacking together
Oh, that
smoked
was
me.
good. That was good. Let's see. So
Oh,
sorry.
you're corrupted.
He's also level 15.
Did I go corrupt?
You did.
Oh,
boy.
no.
Well, it should be fine as long as we're in a party. Speaking of which, we should form the party.
Yes. Well, yeah, let's get this
Yeah,
going.
really.
We can talk more over.
Yep.
I
Are
agree.
you guys disbanded?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, another thing we can talk about when we're moving is we did revamp the animation a little bit. We made it work with the weight of the greatsword a little bit more, so you'll see like more precise pose holding, and it's less of a lumbering beast than it once was. We're kind of leaving that space for the mace and the axe, but it really feels like a sword now to me. It's awesome.
Fair enough.
Can I also show off one other thing? The environment team and the engineering team, and Keenan, I think you were part of this as well, obviously, between the ability system and the interactable environments. Something that I have not seen happen really very often as part of MMO level design is destructible assets. We have that in and running. I want to see if I can destroy these
Oh, we
two
brought it
tents here real
back?
quick. Oh, wait, somebody else destroyed them.
They just got hit by the cone of cold.
I think so. Oh, that was good. That was hilarious.
That was,
I'll find
that
some
was
other
kind of
tents. I'm sorry.
embarrassing.
Hold on, let's find another one. Here we go.
Don't forget to put your helmet on.
Oh, should I put my helmet on? Do I want to put the helmet on?
It's a cool looking helmet.
Whoa.
I'm saying.
All right, I'll put the helmet on. Let me see. Hold
That's
on.
a cool way to solve props getting in the way.
That's true. Let me put
Always
my-
wear a helmet.
No, I meant you could just kill him.
That is a cool helmet.
If he had been wearing his helmet when you were
Here we go.
attacking him,
Oh. Love it.
I didn't think they were going to do destructible stuff.
Oh, we
Did
need
I
to talk to
forget
the
about
scout
that?
first, don't we?
I thought they took it
yeah,
out.
we should grab the quest.
Oh, is there a scout over here? That's right.
All right, let's clear.
Okay,
away.
so you guys remember at the end of our commissions live stream last month, this was Oakenbane Keep. I just kind of came up to the entrance here. I didn't want to go inside because this story arc. See if I have actually information on the story arc. Here we go. So we are part of the Ancient Violence story arc, which is an inhuman threat in the Riverlands, and so it talks about a little bit. The settlers of Vera have known of a constant struggle with the goblins that overran the ancestral Kalar lands. And while we know nothing about their capabilities, it is important that we now find them throwing themselves at Lionhold's paltry defenses, Lionhold being one of the introductory locations right near the portal area
Okay.
in the Riverlands. And Captain Avonmore needs help assessing the scope of that threat. Interesting. And we also have here what appears to be a side quest. Scout Yoren. Let's talk with Yoren. What does he have here? Once a great place of our ancestors, now is overrun. We shall do something about this. Alright, he's been charged with observing I would be happy to take some of your dispensation as
That
pay.
UI does not look like the character whatsoever.
So he wants us to kill 20 of the goblins here in Oakenbane. We've already
Easy.
dispatched a few of them.
Easy.
All right, accept that. Okay, we got the ancestral revenge. Let's do this. What
Jump out and down. Let's go.
we got going on over here?
I like how everyone else is fighting. Steven's like, oh, Luke, what the fuck?
Oh, that guy. He's just kind of flipping around over there.
Oh,
Ooh,
good
this
old.
is feeling
If I was
moody.
Steven, I would have looked at that like, look at these crazy people.
It's feeling moody.
Spooky.
All right, I like that spinny. Oh, random wolf.
All right, not too bad.
Steven, stop looting.
So now, of your guys' experiences in MMOs, how many of you actually mained
Oh,
as a fighter?
Me. I think I'm the only one here. I know everyone's here has played fighter, but I love playing fighters. Like they're kind of my first choice.
You know, I'm gonna. Oh, hold on. I see that there is a
Watch out, big
spirit
bull.
nearby. Oh my God.
I already popped my blizzard too.
oh, I like that blizzard look. That's very nice. Very nice, yes.
We got drags here. Nice.
Oh yeah, this is a
What is this
named
guy?
mob. It's a named mob. We'll have to be sure to loot him after we kill him.
Yeah, Steven needs to loot him, not anyone else.
Why are you guys saying that?
Yeah, it's almost like something happened.
Yeah, we don't have any like ninja looters in this group for sure.
Now, some of you guys are seeing that the effects of that big explosion. That is still effects that are being authored right now, but that is specifically a progression. Oh, that guy was pretty strong. That is specifically a status progression, is that right?
Which one?
Oh, I got something.
Wait. Okay, yeah, there you go.
Did I get something? I got some, looked like let me see if I can find that, hold on.
Stop breaking everything, Steven.
What we got here? A toy soldier legs. Legs of an ancient toy soldier that survived well past when it ought to have, thanks to ancient magics within.
I like
Can
that
be
little light
reassembled
bulb.
with
Ooh,
other
that was
pieces.
nice.
Okay, cool. So sorry, I was talking about the conflagrate.
Yeah, so one thing you'll be noticing a lot on the mage is I'm throwing out different elements of projectiles. Like here's a fireball, and then after that you'll see my weapon combo is throwing out little fire projectiles. As we showed in the previous mage live stream, that is elemental empowerment and how it works. However, we've changed a little bit how that works. On the finisher attack of every combo, you get the element based on what your infused element is. And then you can use certain abilities to promote that from burning to like conflagrate in the case that you're seeing
Oh my
here.
god,
Okay.
that was a lot.
Steven, get it. You're the fighter. Get in there.
So you'll see me
job is
doing
to
that
go
here.
beat up on
I'm gonna give
people.
myself some mana.
Yeah, and that's a concept that we're applying to all the classes. On the tank, we recently moved. They used to generate courage and apply stagger on every hit. We moved that all to the combo end as well, which is really nice because that allows us to normalize these effects across multiple different weapon types and really make true our promise of weapon choice.
He's stuck. Get him.
Yeah, it's like we don't want to, put too much
If
emphasis
Steven
on
can break
attack
down
speed for
that
proc
power
rate.
in
And
the back,
there's other ways
I'll
to
be
do that.
very
You can
happy
normalize
with
chance and all that stuff.
destructible
But
stuff.
we also just thought, like, from a gameplay perspective, it is really cool to like make you have to commit to that final hit. It just kind of makes it feel a little bit more like you're working towards something rather than just getting something on every attack.
Yeah. The initial thought was that the additional flexibility was good with the tank playstyle, but having that additional thing to chase mid-rotation is turning out pretty well.
We
found
got an
somebody.
NPC here.
Forlorn hero.
I found this dude. Looks like some. Oh, this is we saw this guy before. He was in our last time we showed Oakenbane Keep.
Steven.
An armored shade floats before you, incapable of speech. It, however, does extend a translucent arm to hand you a corporeal letter. Oh, I've received a letter. Okay, let's take a look at what this letter does. The paper in this letter is inked on what feels so old that it could disintegrate. Against time and your gentle handling, it holds together. That sounds like I should open this letter.
Yeah.
Though the letter is ancient, the text in it is clearly legible. Papa! Oh, no, wait, no. Papa. Mama says we won't be able to visit anymore. After we've through the portal... Oh, shit, I messed that up. I should have read this before.
C minus.
I know, I'm sorry. Okay, wait. Papa! Mama says we won't be able to visit anymore after we leave through the portal. Didn't feel right to leave you alone, so I'm leaving you my bravest toy soldier. Oh, that was the toy soldier piece we found. To help you and the others here fight off the demons coming for us. I hate to tell you, kid, I don't think that toy soldier's gonna help. I'm getting too old
Don't
for
tell him
toys.
that.
I know. His name is Troy. Oh, I love always Troy.
We have respawns here.
The word Og is written in blood across the back of the paper 4 distinct times. Sounds interesting. Oh. Going to give me some experience. Deliver the toy to the Forgotten Soldiers Memorial Site. Okay, so we need to find a memorial site.
I like this side quest. It's a nice
that's
classic side quest.
What history? What history lives here? Love the banners.
Oh, that was a good move, that little swipe.
Oh man.
Steven, break some things. I just want to see. Oh, break the tower.
We've got a. I also love the ambiance here of the like goblins.
That was real cool. Steven, he's pulling so much crap. He's not a fighter.
We're
Or no,
mopping
he's a
these
true
goblins
fighter.
up.
He's a true fighter.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we've been doing a lot of playtest cycles in this area, getting it good. So we're pretty experienced.
Yeah, we have had many deaths in this area, but yeah, what kills you gets you stronger, right?
Yep.
I think that's how it goes.
The abilities are still flashy, but they're not
That
like
wasn't close.
silly flashy
No.
like they were at one point.
Guys, I want to talk about another thing that we always are keeping in mind towards Alpha 2. Whoops. Keeping in mind towards Alpha 2 is performance testing. That's something that PI has been helping us test, and there's another PI test happening, I think, next week, which is both the visual performance that you're seeing within the game world from a rendering perspective, as well as from a networking perspective on the servers as well. So keep that in mind. There's going to be a lot of benefits there because it is something that is happening now, and teams have been putting a lot of work towards that.
Might want to get a little mana back there.
I know, I have no mana. I'm so sorry. Grab it.
Such a cheater.
We need a bard in this party.
Well, you do have blood fusion if you so choose.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about blood fusion. I should choose that.
Yeah, next AoE pack you could use that with a.
So that gives 50% back of damage done as mana.
Yep. So round all these guys up and pop it and start AoEing.
Oh yeah.
Wrong AoEs, Steven. Wrong AoEs.
Nice.
By the way, this area looks great during the Ancient Violence.
I like the color effects for
All right.
loot.
It looks like we got something up here on our right.
Wolves up front. Let's get them. Let's do this. What do we got?
Incoming. So we
Steven,
got Alpha Woof up top. Try to pull him down.
I see this alpha wolf up there.
Alpha
Going for him.
Wolf. I appreciate the names. Steven, if you pull all those other wolves, it's going to be stupid. There you go. Alright, good. Get some AoE in, Steven, thank you. I appreciate it now.
Who's alpha? Who's this guy talking about alpha?
He's an Alpha Wolf. Who's the big goblin walking in?
Player on me.
Okay, I'm getting that mana back. Oh, what do we got here? Player?
Yep, he's dead though.
There we go. Oh, Wolf. That's a nice little combat there. Nice little mini boss type
Thanks.
deal for the
Yeah,
area.
let's loot him.
Where's he at?
Right here.
He has an alpha severed head. Alright.
Alright, like crafting material.
They have like a little den here. How sad.
Not anymore,
behind.
Steven. You just slaughtered the wolf.
Sneak in.
Yeah, come around from the, kind of like the wall side.
Infiltration.
We need a camouflage. Oh, should we go up here?
Go
Does
along
the
the
wall connect?
walls?
Let's try it.
I think there's mobs up there too, but we can give it a shot.
But Steven can jump him.
No, it looks like there's a break in the wall further down.
Oh yeah, there's a flare up there too, be careful.
It's a good plan though, but foiled.
Good plan. Okay, here we go. Come on, pull these. There we go.
Yep.
Alright, sleeping.
Okay, I'm gonna
Right.
jump on them.
Hold up. Oh!
Son of a tank. Or fighter, whatever. I was just assuming it was me. Doing something stupid. I'm always the first one in.
There we go.
Got a trip there.
We're doing it.
Incoming from the
Oh,
back.
We got
Yep.
we got a friend. Oh no, he's hurting. He's hurting.
Alright, he's frozen. Dead.
Got him.
I mean, I like how that those caves are like little spawn areas for
Wolves, actually. They didn't want this.
wolves or whatever.
They're just in their little dens.
Wrong place, wrong time.
These dens smell nasty.
Big pull.
That is a lot.
Well, I guess
Steven,
that's
get
every pull in here.
I was
Yeah.
about to say.
Fighter's doing work though.
Yeah, I'm doing some
Big
work
pulls, big pulls are what fighter is all
here. Sell
about.
out.
Missed. So that's
All
close.
right, doing a sleep again. Gonna focus the shaman over here.
I love getting that mana back.
I do like that he shows all these different abilities and looks and stuff. It's nice. Nice visuals.
Nicely done.
Nice to see.
Here, up here. There's a goblin right there.
Ooh, it's getting dark for me.
Oh, we pulled a
Packs
bunch here. Pulled a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
How could you, Steven? How could you?
Layer in the back.
I like when they die and they go,
There's a shaman out there.
"You're
too.
hurting me."
Destroy their homes so they don't come back.
That'd be cool if that worked.
Ooh, I found some of the
Open it, Steven.
cargo. Okay, alright. Picked up a
Got some loot.
Yeah.
All right, sleeping that pack up there.
Nice.
Get the shaman. He's got the balls. The
We got
green
ads.
balls.
Next
Goo.
pack, actually.
All right, AoE.
I think it's a shaman.
Rags ad.
Oh yeah, we got a named guy. That's one of the ones we need.
Look up.
What are you doing,
Where
Steven?
is he?
He is right on top of our tank.
Oh, shaman back here.
Got another sleep off.
Yeah.
Short live.
Some mana.
Yeah, me too.
Slayer Raw.
Bringing that wolf down.
Rad.
Gonna
We
sip
did it.
for mana here real quick.
Um,
All right, let's start.
okay, I got
Resting.
some howling wolf garb. Nice.
Nice.
And I found a toy soldier arm. We have the arms now and the boots. We're doing
Sweet.
Wow,
Halfway.
there's a lot of time left on this
it.
video.
Whoa.
There's an hour left.
Every time, sorry.
Every time.
I thought they would be wrapping it up here any second, but which is fine. I like seeing it.
Got ads from the left. He's
I
asleep.
need to eat at some point.
Careful to the left here. Try and pull him back.
Who's messaging me?
Yeah, we got Buzz over here. Let's rest up.
All right, let's make sure there's no ads over here to our
Take a
right.
break, guys.
See where the wall
Get a
kind of sticks out
cigarette,
back there? I think
you
we
know,
need to
chill.
get that
Right, wolf right here. He's patrolling.
Let's kill him.
We got ads.
Okay.
Oh no.
Let's
I
go
think
to
there's
the
a named
wall.
shaman
Good
right
spot.
there.
Okay. All right, I'm
You
gonna
missed.
sleep him as we pull.
Steven, how did you miss?
All right, sleep dropping now. I think that LOS to me.
A lot of wolves just past that, so if we end up having to move a little bit, don't go any further than this.
That's it, Steven. Get right in the mess. Where's their name
Yeah, drag him
plates?
into the corner.
All right, this flare's down.
My favorite place of any tank, a corner.
I've been there, man. Been there.
Wait on my pull cooldown. I'll bring him back.
I don't know what
All
that's
right,
about.
it's just him now. Burn him.
I'm bringing it back to the wall.
Nice. Good pull.
Budge.
That shield is strong.
Burn it, guys. You gotta burn the shield.
Some mana back. Here we go. Wait for it.
I wonder if those wound stacks are reducing the shields though.
Should be.
Oh, there's a trip. Can you maim him?
Maimed him.
Nice.
Come on, get him. Get him. Get that shield down.
What a clutch steal.
95.
Unbelievable, that
I
shield.
know. Almost like it's scripted to do that.
Oh, sweet. He had a goblin skull.
Pretty sure it's his skull, though. You just ripped it off
Nice.
his shoulders.
All right. Now, what were we? Were we looking for something?
Yeah, so I think in here is going to be the last 2 goblins we're trying to find.
Yeah, they are up this ramp. This way, I think.
Watch out, there's both left and right here.
I was trying to thread the needle and pull both.
Sleeping the shaman. Focus on this pack here. Oh, you just destroyed that tent.
Heck yeah! I'm telling you, if you destroy the homes, they won't come back.
Mm-hmm. I'm on the
Those
shaman. Freezing in.
muck goblins or whatever the big guys are with the giant swords are like the fighter versions of goblins. The way they're spinning around like crazy.
All right.
Careful up here. This is like super danger area.
I'm gonna pull some of these back, I think.
Yeah, you could probably, yeah. Sleeping the flare. Okay, we got the other flare too now.
I like his like I'm sleeping the flare, then Steven goes AoE on the flare.
What's happening?
All right, keep an eye out.
Flags, he's right there on the left. He's
Get your
back and
mana.
just gonna
Alright,
wait
do you
it
wanna-
out.
We want to clear up here.
Is Slag's the last boss?
There's a
one, or
flare
is-
above us. Flare right
Clear
here.
to the right while we wait, and
Yeah.
then pull him while we're.
Okay, they're pulled.
Leave this one that's close to us, Chad.
Yeah, I'm waiting them to round them up because they're all
we
coming.
also got the next
Yeah,
pack.
they're all coming. All right, sleep dropping now.
Drop that sleep.
Oh,
Oh,
shit.
my god.
It's not much use if that happens.
Well, they got one guy, it looks like.
2 can spin at
The
this.
clutch res.
They bumped my first one, second one coming.
Okay. Keep guiding, keep guiding. I'm back
Look
up.
out.
Steven, shoot. Come on, Steven, burn them down. What just fell down that hill? Was it a hut? It just blew up?
Guiding.
No, you're pulling more,
You
Mr.
got more.
Oh, shit. I mean, I'll be honest. There's times where I, as a tank, I was bored doing a dungeon raid, whatever you want to call it, and I would purposely pull way too many just to spice it up a little. And also make sure everyone was
Did
awake.
it.
Nice. Let me get on the shaman.
Oh, shoot it. Yeah, 2 shamans there. Yeah, get that tent, Steven. I know what you're doing.
Good kill on the chamois.
Nice.
Much better, much better.
We're
Clean
doing
up
it.
that area.
Alright, do we loot slags? Cool.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's what I was
gotta
gonna
loot
say,
him.
Slags.
I certainly did.
What?
Did
Oh.
you? Did you loot Slag?
Dude.
Trade with me. No, trade it to me. Trade
No,
it to me.
that's not a tradable item.
He'll be back soon.
Okay. Maybe we can.
Yeah, let's move up in
Maybe
the
we
meantime.
can spawn him. One of you wants to bring him in.
So did
I
that
think his
guy?
respawn isn't too bad.
It's actually pretty quick.
Is it?
Like-
Yeah,
Yeah.
Alright. Well, let's talk about how this fighter has been performing. Exemplary performance by the fighter, if I don't say so myself. I mean,
Yeah, really.
just unbelievable.
Top tier.
Top tier.
I mean, it looks fun to play a fighter. I probably really won't ever play one.
I love how each of the areas just dramatically change as story arcs come online. visually, right? The atmospherics alone are significant. Not to mention the obvious sound ambience, everything. I mean, it's these goblins. I love their vocals.
Yeah, the little evil laugh like the big guys do right before they spin to win on you.
Oh, yeah.
It's a nice like audio telegraph too.
Blitz. There it is. Good combo. That was it, Steven. That was what I'm talking
Freeze the
about.
flare.
Perfect.
They're starting to respawn here.
Back is back.
Who's the name guy?
No, there's
Oh, the
back
back.
over here.
Whoa.
So what are some of the things, Trad, that you look for from the community, or Keenan or Brian, as it relates to kind of everything we talked about today, right? What are the things you want to hear people kind of opining on in our different social media and forums and whatnot, Discord?
I mean-
Incoming slags.
Oh well, yeah. Let's get him first, then we can chat about that. I mean, this is actually an interesting one. Is like, just these areas, like, the density, the respawn rates, like, this is intended for a larger group, but is this the kind of farming that you would want to see, or what are your preferred grinding experiences in games from MMOs you've played? Also, just like, how do you feel the fighter plays from the melee perspective? Like, what are fighters that you've really liked playing in games, and how did you enjoy them more, or what do you like that more that you're seeing here that you didn't see in fighters on other games? Like, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Stephen Luda.
Building on that a bit, one thing I really like is criticism from our fans. Like what's missing, what doesn't look so hot. We're all experienced developers. We could take the heat. It's fine. You're not going to hurt our feelings. We just need to know what sucks.
Yeah,
That's-
absolutely. I think the critical feedback loop is very important. I think
Steven,
one of
where
the
are you
things
going?
that is super important anytime you're offering any critical feedback is to be very specific in the things that don't mesh well, or that you're looking to see improved. And a lot of that stuff validates already what we have intentions for as we move forward in development. But that validation is important, right? Because it means that you as the player are thinking about the same things that we're thinking about. And we can prioritize that stuff. Obviously, combat being one of the biggest takeaways from Alpha 1, which you can see here, we took to heart and are iterating upon.
I will
and
say that
continuing to
they did a
develop.
fantastic job after all this.
Another good thing would be, this is a half group. Like, how did the visuals look? Like, the fighter effects feel and look really awesome in my opinion, especially when we're showcasing them. How does that hold up, with the mage effects in
Is it Steven
parallel,
Luda?
and also the cleric and the tank? Like, a lot of that stuff, how does it look, when you're looking at it from a very controlled, isolated standpoint, and how does that hold up or break down when you enter all those archetypes together into the mix?
That's true.
You ready for the final guy? Ooh,
Where is
slags.
Did I get
Back
the?
2.0.
Sorry, did I loot the other dude?
No, you didn't.
I
He's ready.
booted him again, so I spawned us a new one.
Oh my
Jesus.
god!
I can't help it.
Where is the new one?
Right here.
Years of ninja looting experience, I
Oh
guess.
my
Gee.
god! This is the fighter showcase, not the rogue.
Sorry.
That was funny. Is this him? All right.
Yes.
Let me grab-
Watch Keenan just loot it again.
Oh my god.
I know.
There we go. Okay.
Okay.
We have
Ooh.
the flare blade fragment and the toy soldier
Just hit loot,
torso.
Steven. Just hit
Yay!
loot, for the love of
We have a
God.
torso now. Keenan has 2 torsos. I have a single torso.
I have 3.
Oh my god.
Alright, when
Okay.
you guys are ready, I'm going to charge.
What do I do here?
You want me to do a sleep bowl?
Well, they're incoming.
Alright,
Body
I'm
pull.
sleeping now, so we'll see which one I get. There are 2 shamans in the back. I'm gonna focus on them.
I like the level design a lot, especially because there's like 3 tiers of environment here. Especially where the one boss they had to keep killing the goblin down low with the big area, and then as you come up here, it's kind of like focused and a tighter area to fight. You could either try to push them quick and fight up on the platform here, or like they did where they pulled early and they had to fight him in that little crevice. And depending on your team setup, it might be good or bad to fight him up. In that little shooting gallery, a little alleyway.
I think with the fighter looking as cool and spectacular as he does, it's a good opportunity to talk about how like visually interesting each ability should be, and whether people think it's too much or too little, or whether they feel like it's about right for the gameplay experience that they enjoy.
Absolutely, visuals. The visual effects for these abilities are in a playable state. We want to get your guys' feedback on that.
Steven's got to crouch once in a while and get some mana back, or he's got to do.
Definitely want a lot of feedback around what people want out of group grinding areas. I know we're developing a lot of those right now, and that would make sure that we're giving everyone what they want, or at least taking it into consideration with what we're building.
Oh, you got to find the memorial site now.
Like things like respawn rates, density.
Do we want to complete the quest here? You should have all the pieces. All right, so in your inventory, you should have all 4 if you looted Zags.
Yes.
Put it together and see what happens.
Just right-clicking one of them?
Sure.
Oh, reassemble the doll! The goblins must have broken up the toy soldier. If I have all 4 parts, I can try reassembling it.
Looks like there's
They
something
snapped
over
together,
here.
I have a reanimated toy soldier. That sounds like a Chucky doll or something.
Creepy. Let's get rid of it.
Yeah, I was about to say.
We're gonna get respawned. better turn it in.
Where are we going? Where are we going?
We got a tombstone from the same guy.
Ooh, the Forlorn Heroes Memorial. Let me see here.
Wait, how is there a hero's memorial if he died when there was the
All the
corruption
heroes
or
that
whatever?
could not be buried.
Everyone
All
was
be
escaping.
remembered here.
I guess I don't know.
Place the action figure by the memorial. I can feel a grateful presence in the air. I suddenly notice this. Hey, this was a graceful.
The goblins don't seem to care.
This small parcel near the memorial that I didn't see before. He gave me a glowing glint and some dim glint, and he had leftover currency from the ancient
What a deal!
times.
50.
And hopefully a lot
Silver?
of XP, right?
Yes, a significant number of experience. Deliver the toy. We have succeeded.
Yay!
Look at that. It happened. We did it. Amazing. Holy
A
smokes.
nice, simple
Wow.
little quest.
That
I
was
like
fun.
I
I
like
enjoyed
it.
that. And the area obviously looks beautiful. The class plays
Steven,
remarkably
just
well.
jump off the edge. Let's see what happens.
Feels very good.
Just jump.
Keenan, Brian, Trad, and all the goblins around us that are incredibly vocal.
Just jump, Steven.
Thank you guys. This was a lot of fun.
And
I
this
enjoyed
dream
this.
is
I know
your
the community did.
point.
Everyone out there in the community, as you guys have seen, the fighter class is getting very close to ready for Alpha 2, along with all the other archetypes that you've seen. Give us your commentary. Give us your feedback. Talk on the YouTube channel, in the Discord, on our forums. What did you enjoy about the presentation today? Oh my gosh. These guys are just
Annoying.
completely... Maybe we can just nuke them.
Persistent?
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe just nuke them as they come.
We're almost dead.
We'll nuke any future goblins.
Yes, future goblins. But everyone out there, talk to us about what you enjoyed today in the presentation. We obviously enjoy sharing these updates with you. Obviously, Ashes of Creation is
it's
still
kind
a
of
work in
boring in the
progress.
middle.
We're continuing to develop
Watching
towards
the abilities
Alpha 2.
because I would
we're
prefer to
hard
do
at
it
work
myself.
doing so.
But
the combat team loves your
I
guys'
do
feedback,
appreciate them
so
doing
please
this
give it.
stream.
And Keenan, Trad, Brian, thank you very much for
And
joining us
detailing
today
everything I do.
and
It's
showing off
something
all the
I
hard work that your
I
guys'
personally
teams have
wanted
been
for a
working
long
on.
time, and I appreciate it.
Yep.
So I hope they
Thanks for
continue.
having us. It's been an
Even
adventure.
if I fall asleep
Yes.
during the
It's
stream.
My pleasure.
An adventure. All right, guys, we will see you
want them
back
to
on
do it.
stream.
And we are back. I'm going to play the video in the background whilst we talk. We're going to grab some questions from chat throughout the. We've been watching you. Vacnar and Roshan, our wonderful community managers, we have like a party that's happening on Discord, and we've got a Twitch chat. So we've definitely been keeping an eye out for your guys' questions and trying to snag all of the details. So first and foremost, I think, Stephen, you wanted to kind of address performance. And I know that's something that we are working on drastically. Even with our PI users, we've been getting all the PC specs and stuff like that and working towards that.
Yeah, and the initial performance work that's being done right now is mainly on the network side. But what you guys are noticing on the FPS and the client side rendering, that is stuff that we are going to be working on over the next few months. And you should see some very significant lift in those areas. Sometimes it can get a little bit unruly while we're in active development. Certain assets can get certain places that might need to be adjusted. We might be getting draw calls from across the map. You might have some cloth simulation that's just a little heavy on some hair. Like there's, a few things obviously that are kind of low hanging fruit. That our performance teams will focus on. You'll see that get better, obviously, as we get closer to Alpha 2. So it is on the top of our minds. We do definitely address that. We recently released also some of our min spec and recommended specs for Alpha 2. You can take a look at that on the website.
I haven't looked at that.
Yeah, you go to our support section and look at our KB articles or our knowledge base articles. Sorry, I call it KBA. But our knowledge base articles and just type in specs. Really old there for you. So we have all that information already there. And keep in mind that is just for Alpha 2. We will be changing that as we move forward in Beta 1 and Beta 2 and then launch. We're obviously going to keep optimizing. To give perspective, most games are not worrying about performance and optimization this early on. Usually you're just developing like crazy and then you do the performance stuff later towards when you're ready to open for beta or the alphas these days, which are basically like beta ones. So just kind of keeping that in mind because we're in open development, it's a little bit different for us, in development process. The next question we have here, the rest of them are more fighter based. The next question here is, will the battle cry sound effect change based on your race and sex?
Yeah, and that's not just obviously for battle cry, but any type of incantation is generally going to adhere to a certain style of vocal that's respective of the character customization options that you've selected.
Yeah, and you'll hear those audio voices in other things that we do in the future. Are any of these abilities changed based on weapon choice? So example, if I have a bow equipped, will Whirlwind be different based on that?
No. So in one thing that we've changed, which since Alpha 1, is we now have a dedicated ranged slot and a dedicated main hand offhand for melee slots. And so if you use an ability that is utilizing your ranged slot, you will spawn that weapon as you're using the ability and then go back to your basic weapon selection toggle, and you can toggle back and forth between using the ranged weapon slot or the melee weapon slot for your basic weapon attacks.
All right, and then the next one here is, what percentage of currently complete fighter abilities don't require a target? Something that folks noticed is that you were in action combat a few times throughout this as well. So I don't know how you want to explain.
Yeah, absolutely. I tried to play a little bit of action there. I saw some of the commentary about my my playing. I just want to say that
I told you in advance there was going to be comments.
That's totally fine. Like, hey, I want you as the viewer to look and say, man, I could play way better than you, right? And then get in here and show it in Alpha 2. No, I'm just kidding.
There was a couple times where I'm like, Steven, you were wandering around over here and the boss was there.
Somebody on Discord today said that I'm a boomer. And I said, technically, I'm a millennial, but I play like a boomer, so I guess I'm a millennial.
And they were like, just stop. I saw that in the Discord.
Oh, Steven.
It's so good. Okay, what was the actual question? Oh, what percentage are templated attacks versus requiring a target?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I would say off the top of my head, I think there's probably 4 or 5 abilities right now that require a single target, and then I think the rest are either like on self or some, template conal attack or something.
Yeah, fighter's very AoE heavy. Will there be a limit to the stacks on bosses? So there was a lot of debuffs and what do we call it, status effects and things like that were being stacked onto things. And they were curious if there's limits to certain stacks. And also, can you, for instance, an example would be, can I one-shot a boss by stacking wounded for an hour?
No. Yeah, that's absolutely. There's diminishing returns. There are max stack counts. Those are types of things that kind of depend on the target we're talking about. Bosses are obviously going to have the higher end of resistances and
Immunity.
diminishing returns and immunities. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So the intent is not to provide an infinite stack count. Absolutely.
Well, that's good because that would be a little ridiculous.
To follow up on that, just because I
Just a
know there
little.
might be some subsidiary questions of that, which is, would those stacks be per or per person or per archetype or per the type of status effect?
Those would be predicated on the status effect type. So not respective.
So if you put burning on it, it would be everybody in the raid has to adhere to that limit.
That's correct. Yep.
For context, okay. And then
and just to be clear, like that is absolutely something that we're going to be testing. We've on the design team, we've had a number of discussions with regards to how to surface kind of individual stack application versus group and raid combat requirements there. There's a few different options that are available, obviously, to us. We've decided on a certain direction for the purposes of Alpha 2, but I believe we've actually prototyped a few of the different options just to get a feeling for how that is currently in our combat testing. So yeah, just stay tuned for that. Obviously, Alpha 2 is going to have testing with that.
And you guys will be either experiencing it or watching it in Alpha 2, and so definitely share with us your thoughts. We'll be making changes.
I will.
Balancing things.
When I get some, when I can get some action going here, I'll let you know about my thoughts.
Aggro if their secondary archetype is a tank, and I know that that's like going deeper into secondary archetypes, but
Sure.
Folks are curious about it.
I mean, just to give a general response there without getting into too much of the specifics, because obviously augments are something that we are still kind of outstanding in our development / inspection there. The idea is that, obviously threat generation is a core component of the tank archetype. So as a fighter, if you're selecting the tank as your secondary archetype, you're going to have certain spheres of augments that you can apply to your abilities to help maintain threat, to potentially even momentarily take aggro from a particular target in order to better service that role of the tank in combat. Now, what that will specifically equate to, I don't have an answer for you now. That's something that we'll be testing in the future. But know that the goal with providing those selections to the fighter will be to service a secondary threat generation, effect.
Like an off tank almost.
And then the next one is
Or more damage.
Is momentum being generated while under the effects of exert?
Say that. I'm sorry, I was getting distracted. Everybody in chat saying stare. Why are they saying stare?
I don't know. Maybe someone rated us or something like that. Is momentum being generated while under the effects of exert?
Is momentum being generated while under the... Yes, absolutely. That's part of the mechanic that is currently incorporated into exert, is that you can activate exert while max momentum, and then depending on the effectiveness of you utilizing your skills and damaging targets, you can continue to keep that momentum up while under the effects of exert to extend its lifetime beyond what the 6 seconds initially are.
We appreciate the raid. We always do from everybody. We just are also trying to be conscious of folks' time, so we don't always mention them. The next one is, will ranged archetypes have ways of gaining distance to compensate for fighter distance closers? Would you keep doing this until both players have cooldowns for their mobility? And I just want to say, we haven't balanced everything yet, so there will definitely be adjustments.
So the question is, are there gap creators in addition to the gap closers that we see on the fighter, or?
It's will ranged archetypes specifically, like your mage, your ranger, your more ranged folks.
Will they have
ways to gain distance to compensate for how well the fighter can gap close?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the cat and mouse of these abilities, right? Like we've seen with the ranger, they have a backflip, they have their airdrop ability. The mage has teleportation. There are going to be abilities that are tit for tat, right? And managing the resource of those abilities and the timing of when you use them to either correlate to your opponent's use of those things, or to save them for yourself when you want to get away. Like that's part of what makes the engagements dynamic and different each time.
Yeah, and if you go back and you watch like our mage archetype preview or our ranger specific archetype preview, you will see that they also have some abilities to slow, snare, keep their targets in place, and also to get themselves more mobile.
And scamper away.
Has a lot of mobility as well. So, and there will be balance. We're not in the balancing state. So obviously right now,
sometimes you don't have to repeat that every 5 seconds.
But right now we're trying to find the fun. So sometimes the fun is a little OP, but the balance will come into play. And of course, you'll see these abilities move around too. Some of them might move into secondary archetypes or augments and things like that. So just keep that in mind. The next question is, do destructibles respawn? Because one of the things that you had said in there was like, oh, maybe they won't come back home. And like someone was like, oh, I wish that was the case. But yeah.
No, I was just being a little play.
That'd be interesting.
Yes, destructibles. So, obviously not a lot of MMOs that we have all probably played are intending to provide a heavily destructible environments. These set pieces, like the different props you saw in this demonstration, the huts, the totem poles and stuff, those are unique to the goblin tribe, the Mukma tribe. And part of our dynamic world is that as population tables change, so too do the corresponding prop sets that are utilized within the area to better reflect that dynamic change of the world. And from a level design perspective, when you're curating these spaces for players to engage in combat, either in PvE or in PvP, there is an element of strategy that gets introduced when that environment has destructibility as well. So you can clear those spaces, make mobility a bit
I hope
better serviceable for you, or vice versa. You could utilize, line of sight and interruption to kind of create
some
interesting
destructibles aren't like one-shot kills.
Those can
they
be
have
destroyed,
like an invisible
and then they
health
do
bar
respawn after a period of time. I believe currently that period of time is set to like 10 minutes for the respawns of those.
So maybe the big hut's got 10,000 health lives, just throwing it out there.
Got a bingo.
And then normal little baby huts or little things are like 100 and it's one-shot kill, something like that. So I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, for those of you who are new to our community, if you head on over to our Discord, our community always does they make up a little bingo card. It's cute. Can we toggle nameplates for mobs, especially to show them outside of combat? So one of the things they noticed when you were playing is that when you were roaming in the world, you didn't really see nameplates until you had them targeted.
Yeah, that was a setting that I had enabled, just because. Oh, so first of all, to answer that question,
the immersion, you guys.
Right, I know. I'm sorry, I do like the immersion. it helps fulfill the fantasy of the world. But I also like to see nameplates from time to time. Anyways, it is entirely customizable currently. That customization option is already in game. You can set nameplates to always appear. You can set it to only appear on targets. You can set it to only appear on targets that have taken damage. You can set it to only appear on targets that are aggroing you or your party members. You can set it for your allies, for yourself, for, you know, whatever. There's a lot of highly customizable options that are currently in the game.
All right, and
I
we're
like
gonna
that.
have color options too for certain things for colorblind folks too. I think it was one of the things that we've worked towards. So we're gonna try to give you guys a lot of customization. I think even in Alpha 2, you'll be able to like move and adjust your UI around. So yeah, keep that in mind. The next question is, are mob sounds like the Goblin stock placeholder or Intrepid made audio? We got a lot of comments about
Yeah.
people really digging the audio. So good job, audio team. I know you guys work
We
hard.
had some random
Yeah,
interviews. going,
specifically that was
Yeah.
Andrew, one of our audio designers. He recorded those goblin sounds and implemented them into the game. Yeah, those are not stock. Those are our audio designer Andrew's his nightly routine before he goes to bed. He does those incantations.
Just screams into the ether. Ah!
Exactly. No, he did a great job on those. They were really good. I mean, obviously, and that's unique, right? To obviously certain faction types, the ones that can have language. You know, having those kind of spell incantations, I think, add a lot of character. And he did a great job with those.
Yeah. And then, of course, does the fighter have any specific weapon dependent abilities? So, you know, something that we are allowing people to do in Ashes of Creation is you can use any weapons and armor, but obviously there will be some that will be better for certain specs. So I don't know if you want to talk more about that.
Weapon dependent.
Like you have to use a specific weapon for
Yeah,
a specific ability.
I don't think the fighter I could be wrong on that, but I don't believe the fighter has a weapon dependent ability.
Other than like using ranged weapons with melee specific abilities, right?
Right. And even in those situations, I still think you can use the melee abilities. You just won't have a weapon equipped when you do them.
Just like punching or something.
Right.
They'll have to sort that out. But of course,
They got a
those
lot
are
to do still.
we'll be here all day if we ask and answer all of the questions. So definitely, whenever we put up our next Q&A for next month, make sure you put your questions in there if you have follow-up questions for us. But we also have a thread up on our forums. You can go check it out right now. It is regarding our fighter archetype preview. So if you do have feedback for us regarding the archetype, definitely go give us as much as you want over there. And it doesn't have to just be about the fighter. I think Keenan brought up some great questions in the gameplay section, which was also, or might have not only been Keenan, but about like group play and the density in which we had mobs around there and all of that kind of
That
stuff. So
respawn
anything
was
that you
pretty
saw
quick. I know it's
this
testing,
preview,
but
please feel
should
free
be a
to
little
share
slower.
feedback with us as our
Just
wonderful
a
community
wee
managers will
bit
be
slower.
going through everything. They read every single comment you guys make.
Ooh,
Even
chilly
our social
summer.
media team, Peter goes through that and also provides anything that's additional. So we give them as much as we possibly can on that front in regards to what y'all are thinking and how you're feeling about things, so that they don't have to read all of it. They can focus on making the game. And with that, we'll move over to studio.
By the way,
upgrades.
just to be clear, I want to give another shout out.
Yeah, go
Tori
for it.
also worked on the Goblin vocals as well. So it was Tori and Andrew. They split those up a bit. So those of you who are loving those sounds, big props to Tori and Andrew on that. It definitely immersed me when I was
let's
playing.
get some claps in chat, some hearts. We appreciate it. Next up, let's
It's got to
talk a
be
little bit about
difficult to be
studio
an
stuff.
audio
We
guy,
have a lot of roles
and
that are up
you've got a
for,
massive game like this with different
for hiring
characters and stuff.
Yes,
we know
we
that
do.
the industry is
And
crazy
trying to
right
fill
now.
all the different voices.
You went to
Absolutely.
GDC. Talk a little
You
bit
know,
maybe about that
it's
as
got to
well.
be a pain. It
Yeah,
really
I
does.
did.
I'll
I
give him
did go
credit.
to GDC.
Yeah.
I went to GDC. I tried to fit all of my meetings into just 2 days so that I could get back to the studio as quickly as possible. So I was there for Tuesday and Wednesday. I did announce while I was there on Twitter that I would sit down in that St. Regis lobby from like 9 to 10 on Tuesday and 4 to 5 on Wednesday. And boy, did we have a turnout of people. That was a lot of fun to chat with everybody and where they are in their careers and their passion for Ashes and MMOs in general. I had a great time chatting with a lot of different people. Went on to the expo floor Wednesday in the afternoon for about an hour and got to meet just a lot of people who came up and were aware of
I
Ashes.
bet you
And that was
did.
always
Everyone wants
that
to
helped
be a part of
recharge
Ashes.
my motivation batteries, which was great. Um, we are hiring. We have some lofty hiring goals over the next 60 days. And you guys in the community who are watching and help, spread the word for Ashes and the company, you already have done an amazing job. I told you the story about some interviews I had where their gamer friends, after they had been laid off,
Spam
said,
tagging
"Now's your
them."
chance. Get over to Ashes," right? Um, I would call upon you once again to help spread the word. We have got, I think, like 8 or 9 design positions that are open currently. We have a number of production positions. We have a number of engineering positions. And Intrepid is a stellar place to work, and the project is a very fulfilling and exciting one. So as you are aware of people in this industry
Yeah,
that you look up
people
to
must.
or that you admire, or
I'm surprised he didn't fill the positions at the
whatever it may
GDC.
be, send them our way.
Almost
Because
launched my
Some of those
Chromebook.
roles on there, we're hiring for multiple people of those roles. So if you're
That's
like,
right.
you're like, but I only see 3 there, it's because we're hiring like 4 of that one role or whatever it might be. So
Absolutely.
yeah, it is. We need a lot of people to make this project. It is a lofty one.
Yes.
I think that's all.
I'm surprised you just didn't hire people right from the GDC floor.
No, I think the only other thing that
Maybe
I
he
would
has a
love
no
to touch
poaching rule
on
or
is,
something.
the team is very heads down right now, working towards getting what we want to get ready for Alpha 2 ready. And I would say that, we have a wonderfully beautiful, glorious community who have stood with us many steps of the way on this journey. And it is a journey that's not for everyone. Watching a game that's in development, constantly being teased every month about the product you want to play but can't touch yet, right? Like that.
Yeah.
That takes a
Patience.
different level of patience, right? That
is
not
a lot.
all of us are probably accustomed to. And sometimes that patience can wear thin, and that's fair. But what I can tell you is that that patience is going to yield something, I think, distinct in our genre. What we're creating with this game, and it's been a long road. If I would quote Star Trek Enterprise and their intro song, "Getting from there to here." I'm sorry, but
such
anyway,
a weird intro
it's
too
been a long road,
Star Trek,
and
but hey.
there's still a long road ahead of us. But when I go to sleep at night and wake up in the morning and spend my
like I feel
waking
great.
hours, everything Ashes related, what I think about is that execution. And I think about what it would mean on a launch day of either Alpha 2 or a launch for the game where we didn't do what we needed to do in order to make the game good enough. And I'm not a perfectionist, right? I don't believe in waiting until a product is perfect, but I do believe in waiting until the product is good enough. And that is always my northern star. That's my guiding light when I think about the decisions that need to be made.
I mean, it's his company, it's his
regarding
business,
production,
it's fair.
regarding marketing, regarding
as much as I hate it,
development and design decisions.
Because I want to play.
That is my guiding light, always from the player's perspective. So I just want to impress upon you all in the audience is that, when we hear our friends, our fellow MMO gamers talk about, wanting to either see something now or, hear something now or, whatever that might be, take it with the understanding that you can help communicate to them. Intrepid is trying to do things differently. And that's okay. that is a good thing. That is what this genre needs, is, in my opinion, this level of engagement, this level of transparency, I think is a very important one. And it's been nice to kind of help pioneer that a bit for the genre. And I'm happy to see other projects take that on.
It's not an easy one to do.
And no, it didn't.
That's
I had a
for
couple
sure.
of discussions at GDC
Yeah.
with some
So
other
other
project
developers
directors
thinking about
Yeah,
doing this. It is not
absolutely.
an easy
And
feat, you know.
it is not, because, you know, at the end of the day, like, this takes a level of investment and a bit of an atypical approach to development that allows us to stand up this kind of development update process every month, right? And that investment is significant, but the reward is that we get a community along the way who is also invested in ensuring that the product outcome is what the community wants. And I think that cost is worth it, obviously. But what I want to say is that when you come across, fellow MMO gamers who are impatient, or who, might not say the nicest things about the product, that's okay. It is okay, right? Let them come back and take a look when we do
They'll
get
be
to
back.
Alpha 2, or when we exactly correct. So don't jump down the throats. Just, be prepared, open arms, smiling faces, and as we continue to stay on the road towards development, if you build it, they will come. That is a lifelong message
And
I take home.
if you've followed us over the years, you've seen our progress. Like, we continue to make progress. That is one of the beautiful things about having open development. The hardest thing is keeping that trust and building it, right? We understand that we're going to make mistakes. Everyone does, right? But it's how we communicate those and how we share that information with you guys. So
I will say, coming from
we
the
appreciate you.
early
Thank you so much
alpha,
for being here with us.
pre-alpha
and
I was in,
motivating and
then
providing
seeing
us
what they're doing now,
feedback.
it is very impressive
feedback
where
does
they've
take
come
time
from.
to fix and
And
iterate on.
I do,
So that is
like
another
they're
thing
saying
too.
right
So
now,
just keep those
I
things
do
in
see
mind.
that
And
it's been
normally,
like,
folks are developing MMOs.
it's
10,
it's hard
15, 20
going
years
sometimes. So,
in darkness, so they don't have that.
but still,
continual
it's
feedback.
fun.
And you're not sitting there waiting.
I
for
do
10,
like seeing the
20
progress.
years,
I just wish I was I was able to
and early on in
tangibly
development,
play
you
with
have a
it.
lot less staff because you're not, doing the nitty gritty. And as you get further along, you're staffing up, you're working towards bigger pieces, and that's when things start moving fast. So just thank you for your patience and continued patience and patience with other people who maybe don't have it.
Absolutely.
My
And with that,
patience
we'll
comes
move
and
over
goes, that's
to
for
our
sure.
wonderful art update. We have, you guys got to see the Renkai in game too, which is cool. We've shown the models before, but we did show the heavy armor in game. And last time we showed you the medium armor for Carfin, and this is the light armor, and this is the medium. So these are all the Carfin armor
like
that
the
you've been
mask.
seeing and the weapons and stuff like that. Those are all attainable in-game things from Carfin. So get excited for
Looks great.
Carfin. Yeah.
Love it.
Steven didn't want to put his helmet on in game.
I know. I was really enjoying the orc
Mohawk.
mohawk.
Just hide your helm, homie.
I know.
And then the next one here is a turntable of that, which looks amazing.
I do like that look. That back stuff,
does
look
the little
good.
red sparkles, it almost
Who
feels
worked
like
on
it's
this?
floating a little off the
It was,
armor.
I'm sorry.
That might be a little nitpick,
It
but
was a
I
bit
think
of
this.
a
I think this
crazy
might have
week.
been. I think this might have been Eli. Did Eli work on this?
I normally
Eli
do
probably, or
grab the
Manny. I don't know.
names.
Sure.
And then Nikuan, we are now sharing with you. This is the starting gear for the Nikuan.
Oh yeah, the
So you
Nikuan
get some-
models and the starting gear.
Yeah, you've seen the
what do you get? Just some
concept of the
twigs?
models. This is like these are 3D models now.
I mean, it is what it
They're
is.
starting
But
gear,
Actual
and
models.
you've been starting to see some of the starting gear from all the other races, so we've been sharing them as we're moving along. And then we've got some cool VFX that were being worked on.
Oop, too fast.
Some
Okay,
of
there we
these you
go.
might have seen in game, or you will soon. We always go through different iterations of them.
No, those are those I believe are effects for the God Spike and
Yeah, the
the
Torn
Essence
God
Fissure.
Spike. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
actually have the Torn Spike. I was gonna save it for last, but I realized I should have put the VFX with that after. So we'll just share that next here.
Okay.
These are some of the concepts for them. Obviously, this is not the end model, but do you want to talk a little bit about what the Torn God Spike is for, or just leave them? 'Cause
Sure.
I think you tease people. They're like, "What does that mean?"
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
no,
when you
I
just
talked a little. This is something you're going to
tease
be
them like
seeing
that.
next
Talked about
month.
it in our Discord.
Yeah, we talked about, the Torn Empire was an ancient empire on Vera before the Aelins and the Pyrrhian empires got stood up. There was an empire of half elves that their demise came under the rule of King Atrax,
Not
and the God
A-Trax.
Spike was a particular interesting artifact that could help to initiate essentially this essence fissure that would spawn in certain areas, and would be able to kind of sap into and siphon out the essence that laid within Vera. So not to get in too much detail, but it is an interesting ancient artifact that can be used as part of certain war declerations that we may get some insight to in the coming month.
The cat just launched across.
They both just ran in the room. I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah, you're gonna get to see that next month. So get some. I want to hear some theories of what you guys think next month's topic is gonna be. And the next thing that we have here is some little spiderlings that are looking adorable with a big spider.
Those are cool.
Apologies for
the
anybody who
little
doesn't like
spikies are kind of
spookers.
weird.
I won't keep them up on
Jinsey
screen
did
too long.
these.
I know we've got a lot of people out there who are like, I don't like spiders. It's okay, you can defeat them. And then we have some concept art pieces. We have
Why is it moving
some
so
work
quick?
that's being done towards Academy nodes, Aelin highways, Aelin ruins, and the Kalar walls.
Those look great.
Steven.
And of course, you guys have seen a lot. I know the cats are yelling in the background. You
Steven's
guys
like,
have
I'm
seen some of
tired.
these concept pieces in the past with us, and then we've shown you the in-game world. And a lot of people are like, it looks like the concept. Our artists are amazing. We try to give them a little showcase every week. It's never enough, I'm sure. And with that, I think we'll just wrap up with our Q&A as per usual.
Sometimes
and
the best part of the
I will
whole
play some more
stream.
of the fighter preview whilst we do that. Maybe I'll move to the in-game part where you guys are fighting all the monsters.
Let's see what
answer questions.
So what questions we have.
We have some spicy ones. No, they're not too spicy.
Oh, spicy? Spicy.
Well, maybe some of them are spicy. Harry Glenn wants to know about buffs. Will there be long-term individual or group buffs unique to certain archetypes and classes? And this is in lieu of, when you think about general rating where you go and you're like, I'm going to put this hour-long buff on somebody. Are those types of things going to be something that you're going to have experience? Like, everybody group up, we're going to rate, we're going to buff up.
Yes, those are definitely an intended experience. I think actually, though, our longest buff right now is intended to be 30 minutes. So I'm not sure we have hour-long buffs. If we do have hour-long buffs, though, they would likely come in the form of edibles, well, excuse me, that's probably wrong term.
Edibles.
Food. Rations.
I mean, edibles is correct, but not now anymore.
It's too good.
It's too funny. Falcus wants to know about naval risks. What's the repair cost for destroyed ships and components? Is it risky to venture into the ocean knowing repairs might be costly, or is it manageable enough to encourage frequent exploration?
No.
And this is coming from people seeing our caravan exploration stuff.
Sure. Yeah, like most things in Ashes, there is risk. And traveling across the seas is not a easy adventure. So when you suffer either damage or destruction, obviously those will each contain different levels of risk. The damage will be much more manageable if actively attempting to repair that while at sea, which you will have options to do on ships. is actively repair. Your crew can actively repair if they have the appropriate materials.
That's good.
But if you
So I gotta
do,
carry like 1,000 lumber on whenever I go into
unfortunately
battle.
suffer some major mishap and are completely destroyed, the cost will be great in reconstituting your vessel.
Well, that sucks.
All right.
But
The next one is
expected
from
with this
OTR
game.
Oder that wants to know about coastal node ZOIs. Will the deep ocean be encompassed into the zone of influence of coastal nodes? I feel like we've talked about this before, but it might have been with PI.
It is not.
I'm
I
sorry,
remember-
repeat the
I
last part
remember
of
it.
it again.
Will the deep ocean be encompassed into the zone of influence of coastal nodes? So the coastal nodes, will the
Oh, I
deep sea
see.
be
I
part
see,
of
I
that?
see.
And I think we've said no before, but
Yeah, no, the deep sea, while it exists technically as part of a zone of influence, it does not contribute to those coastal node areas. So the coast does, not the deep sea, but it is primarily
Okay, we've
the
had that
land,
talk before.
environments that are going to be contributing to the node's experience grant.
there
Okay.
you have it.
And
So
that
folks
that
were
obviously
curious about it.
and that obviously might change, right? We'll see kind of how that plays out during
Yeah, but
Alpha
I don't
2.
know if you want to have like the
And then
deep
we've got
sea part of it
Leonardo,
now.
who
Like
wants
that's
to
so
know
far
about
out there.
server culture. Knowing that there won't be PvP or PvE only servers, how will new players find a server that fits their playstyle, culture, expectations? And I don't think we've ever said there won't be PvP or PvE only servers, but I think that's what people are under the impression.
We haven't, I don't think we've officially said that, but
Mm-mm.
there won't be PvP or PvE servers. The intended design is that
Well, that's been like a
PvP
good assumption since the
events are the
start.
primary method by which consensual PvP exists for players. They opt into those. And then non-consensual PvP is governed through our flagging system, which is highly disincentivizing players to engage in non-consensual PvP.
Yeah, so you're not going to get people just running around nuking
So the question was,
newbies
how
left
will
and right
players
every
get to
day.
choose their PvP experience? Is that what we're-
Yeah, well, if you're new and let's say maybe you're a PvE primary player, how will I know
Sure.
which server to join? Like what culture is
Oh, I
going to
see.
be best for
I
me?
see. I
Yeah.
see. I see. Ashes is a PvX game. And so in that regard, your ability to wholesale disconnect from the PvP elements of the game are likely not going to be entirely successful. Now, does that mean that you can reduce your exposure to PvP? 100%, right? And there are multiple play paths and progression points that players can
Yeah, we're going to
elect
miss out so much of this
instead to be
game.
more PvE focused. But by the sheer nature of risk versus reward, and risk including not being able to predict how other players might impact your gameplay, that is an element of the innate risk that exists in the multiplayer environment of a PvX setting. So, not everybody is going to like that. And we accept that, right? And we're not trying to build a game that everybody is going to like,
It's not for
because
everybody. It's a niche.
doing that, absolutely, doing that is not going to be successful because they're just people with different interests. And we accept that, and we're very kind of on the nose about what we're trying to achieve, right? The idea is not to create a gank fest, is not to create a grief fest. That is not what PvX is. And so because of that, we have certain mechanisms and systems that govern the way players engage in PvP. And majority of those are opt-in. But there is always that element of risk that's governed by the flagging system. And so if you're interested in that, I would take a look at the wiki and look up what flagging is and look up what corruption is. My experience tells me, and my expectations of the system are that they will significantly reduce a player's exposure to non-consensual PvP, but that risk is always going to be present to some degree.
My recommendation, make friends.
That's right.
Get in a guild. It's an MMO. It's not meant to be a solo playing experience. Not that you
That's
can't.
right.
It's just that's more risky. So if you like risking it for the biscuit, that's your call. And then Lineker and Emily kind of were asking about biome development. Will we see other biomes outside of the Riverlands? I think we've seen a lot of the Riverlands lately.
Sure.
And then what biomes are planned for the start of Alpha 2?
So as we get closer to Alpha 2, I will have a better answer for the expected biomes at the start of Alpha 2. We have probably completed the assets for about 7 biomes, I think, roughly. And what I mean by that is we're talking about terrain, we're talking about foliage, different tree types, we're talking about geological features and different types of stone work and whatnot. From a environment standpoint, biome creation is more advanced, but biomes are like, they're essentially zones, right? And zones require more to be complete than just the environmental assets. They
Well,
require
yeah, that's true.
content creation. That's point of interest development. Those are environmental sets that are needed to sell kind of the ancestral ruins. There is narrative and quests that are required to populate a zone. There are creatures and creature design that's required to populate a zone. So if we're talking about biomes from an environmental perspective, there's been a lot of progress made towards our overall biome
I think it's more
intent.
the question here is really, when will they see those biomes?
Well, we've shown the desert biome. They've
Mhm.
seen the jungle biome in Alpha 1. They have seen some of our tabletop mountains. We have shown obviously the riverlands. We will continue to show those biomes in the future at some point, right? When they're ready to show. And when it comes to what's expected at the beginning of Alpha 2, that's something that when we are certain of what that will be, because development can be fluid, right? We're in the progress of development. So, I would say stay tuned for when we're ready to share what that's going to be.
Yeah, and I think on the front of what you can expect from Alpha 2 and the guide for that, we will put out an article that kind of gives you an overview of what features and systems and areas will be available. We've done that before. We've given you like a map and the keybinds and
Some of this stuff,
all of that jazz. So
a
we
lot of
will
this
do that
stuff
again for you guys again
is things
in the
that
future. So
have
stay
been
tuned.
hinted at or
And as we get
heard or
closer to Alpha 2,
spoken
you're probably
before.
going to see
So
more of that information.
not too much to
coming into
comment.
play. The next one here is from Tyranthraxis, and they want to know about ship and combat collision. How will naval combat and raiding work if ships cannot be moved or blocked?
How will naval combat work if ships cannot be moved or blocked?
Yeah.
Ships can be moved. You're talking about like collision, like pushing ships in the different directions in the water?
Yeah, I think that's what they mean.
Okay. Yeah. The intent is that we adhere to some semblance of real physics feelings, right, with regards to these vehicles.
Okay.
And so ships do have the potential to be pushed in different directions.
So if someone's in a little rowboat and I've got my
that is an
galley
intended collision experience that we want ships to
push
have.
them to
but
another
it should come with
planet.
significant risk and potential
So they
damage
jump
to the
out
vessels
and
themselves.
despawn it or whatever.
All right. And then
I mean,
the
that'll be
next one
fun,
here
just ramming
is
enemies
from
with a big
Hutchie
tanky ship.
1989, and they want to know about commission credit. Will one get credit for quest objectives or for completing a commission when in a raid? We talked about, yes, if you're in a party, you can get a commission credit. But what about if you're in a raid?
Oh, I see. That's a good question. And I think in the majority of cases, if we do allow progression within narrative systems like a quest or a commission, I think that's something that's going to be distributed based on the number of raid or party participants, right? So killing a particular monster is not going to get everybody a check mark on their progress towards killing 20, right? It's going to be one person's going to get that progression, and then it'll continue to the next person, and so on and so forth.
I mean,
if we're talking about
I get
sudden
it,
quest lines,
but I don't know
like
if that's
story
gonna
arcs
work
or
well.
events that have phases or that have overall participation by many members, then that progress can be shared at a party raid level. So there's different settings depending on what objective there is within a quest. Some of them will share, some of them will be distributed.
Right. And then APOC wants to know about shipbuilding. So if we don't, we have a lot of naval questions. Y'all are very curious about naval stuff.
I love ships
if
too.
we don't have a coastal node leveled up, are the SOL on are we SOL on building and launching ships? So are we just like helpless in that? So if we don't personally have a coastal node,
That's actually a good
can
question.
we not build and launch ships?
No, you can absolutely build and launch ships. Coastal nodes are not where ships get built and launched. Harbors are where ships get built and launched, and harbors are essentially dilapidated points of interest that progress when a node nearby, coastal or not, adopts that point of interest or that harbor. Then the node
But
can
what if none
contribute
get
towards
developed?
building up the harbor, and players who may not be citizens of that node can still go to that harbor and access its services.
And then we
Yeah,
got
but what if
an ultimate question here. We're
nobody
almost to the
upgrades the
end.
harbor?
So thank you all for staying with us. Apolphus wants to know about active blocking spells. How will active blocking function when it comes to spells? Will players be able to parry
That's a good
spells?
question.
We talked about active blocking in melee occurrences, but they're curious about more spell oriented.
Hold on one second. Before we get to that question, let me give
Go
some
for it.
clarity. So the question I saw from Ashes of Nerer was, so a group of 8 will have to kill 8 times 20 goblins. No, in regards to, like, it depends on the objective. If it's a kill objective, then being in a group of 8 or potentially in a raid, everyone will get credit for the kill. If it's a drop that's required, like a quest drop off of a loot container or a monster, and one person grabs the quest reward, not everyone will get the quest reward from that individual drop. So just want to clarify,
Unless
it
it's an
depends on
event
the
necessary.
correct, exactly. I just want to clarify, it depends on the objective, right? The intent is not to gimp healer classes or support classes, from getting those things. Yeah. Okay, sorry. What was that, Margaret, the last question?
No problem.
I guess that's
It's
okay.
good to
I
clarify.
mean,
How will active blocking function when it comes to spells? Will players be able to parry spells?
Active blocking. So yes, it depends. So active blocking is a part of our universal skill tree. And active blocking, depending on what piece of equipment you have equipped, some will be catered towards magic in
what
blocking,
if I
and some will be
have
catered
a
towards
stick?
physical damage in blocking.
What am I
So if
blocking
you have a
with
physical
that?
shield, you're likely going to have little efficacy against active blocking against a spell. However, if you have a sigil equipped, which is essentially the arcane variant of a shield, and you actively block, then you might have good efficacy against the spell.
All right. And our final question for this development update is from Livu, who wants to know about mount use cases. Will players need multiple mounts on their skill bar for various purposes like immunity, gliding, combat, and escaping, or will the gameplay be more focused on using just one mount? I'm really excited for us to show mount abilities in the future because I know that's something that's on the plate.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the intent is that mounts have varying abilities, and it's expected that you will have a number greater than 1 of mounts available to use. Now, whether or not that number is influenced or governed by a stable system, that is something that is still in active design and development. It is likely that you will not be able to carry every mount you own and be able to use them all at the same time. There will probably be some governor to that, and it will likely be serviced through a default building that exists in every node, which is the stables.
I mean, that makes
Then
sense.
to the second part of that question, is it intended that mount abilities are providing a matrix of choices, options, or strategy to the player? The answer would be yes. Because we have these abilities and different stat blocks that are governed through the animal husbandry system, the desire is to make sure, like any other piece of equipment or itemization choice, that strategy is carefully considered when determining the appropriate mount use.
All right. And that gets us to the end. We made it. It has been a very long one for
That was a long one.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Hey, look at how long my stream's been going for.
Sticking around. Hopefully you had lots of snacks. Maybe got a
2 hours and
break
50
in there.
minutes my stream's been up.
But
That's
of course,
rough.
we
That's
do
a
want
rough
to
day, guys.
mention again to head on over to our forums, forums.ashesofcreation.com. give us your feedback. We have a thread over there already for the fighter archetype preview. If you have any thoughts, definitely share them with us. We will be compiling that and sharing that with the development team. And of course, thank you so much to our development team. Everybody has been kicking butt, but of course, an extra special thank you to Trad, Brian, and Keenan for joining us for this specific showcase. And of course, Stephen, for your time. I know this is a lot for you. He's been a busy bee. And of course, thank you all for being here. And, we hope that you have another wonderful, safe, and healthy month as we kick butt and work towards our next live stream that's coming up here. And of course, internally, we have some big sprints that are coming up, which is very, very exciting for us. We are preparing our butts for Alpha 2. And
they got to hit, I'm sure, some big milestones to get Alpha 2 out the door.
And even some polish time for us. So that's been a big thing for us, is making sure that you guys have a great experience and lots of performance work, as Stephen had noted before. Of course, we will have the video up on, the 4K video will be up on YouTube today. So stay tuned for that. And of course, we will have the full development update for you up tomorrow, pending YouTube cooperates with us. Make sure that if you want your comment spotlighted, to make a comment on that development update video and leave a comment there. Make sure that it shows you publicly as a subscriber, so that when we pick random, it shows you up there. And of course, follow us in all the places. We are Ashes of Creation, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all the places, Snapchat. We try to post everywhere. So thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you all next month for another update.
Woo! Bye, everybody. See you guys.
That was
on screen.
I'm just gonna mute this while I talk for a last minute here. That was a pretty good stream. I did enjoy it. I'll be honest, I was almost falling asleep in the middle when they were talking about the abilities, but I appreciate them so much for going through all of that abilities and detail. Okay, I forgot this thing flashes. It's gonna give me a seizure. And going through all those abilities and really showing off everything they've done, and showing the archetypes for the fighter and other archetypes they've done in the past. So it was a good stream. I do like that. I just really like that they showed it, and then they went into a good long time of combat with Steven using the archetype and actually just running around killing stuff. I know Steven likes to take the lead on some of this stuff, but I almost think to make the whole thing better, instead of having Steven run the show or drive the character, it might be beneficial to throw in somebody else in the driver's seat, to, at least for the combat portion, maybe have it like you've got 4 people in the future streams for the archetypes. 2 people or whatever archetype they're featuring. So like there would be 2 tanks or 2 fighters today, and then you get a healer and a tank, right? Or whatever other combo. And then what you would do is Steven could still do his time where they're roaming the world and he's doing his thing as a fighter. But when they're going through the abilities, mostly it's the guy who developed the actual abilities and the class and the archetype, and gets to really show it off and then explain in detail what's going on. Because there was times where it seemed like Steven wasn't like paying attention to the trip mechanic, and then he wasn't comboing the abilities. Like, what, I forget which guy it was like, hey, Steven, do this to activate this. Well, Steven was just whacking, hitting the thing and blah, 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 and attacking it, but he never hit the combo because he would be too late with it, the second ability, and I don't think he really totally grasped what the combo setup was. Like, I'm sure they explained it to him beforehand, but he needs someone who actually sat there and stared at a screen and was like, how am I going to make this ability? Then this class would present it, would be a lot cool. Would be cooler. And then Steven could take over for the second half and do his little beating up people and stuff like that. So that's my one critique and my one suggestion for Intrepid Studios in this one. But yeah, that was a long one, guys. And for everybody, a decent crowd showed up. You guys can talk more too. There's nothing stopping you from talking. But I do appreciate it and everybody popping in and taking a look. And all the likes, I actually got a decent amount of likes on different platforms, so I appreciate that as well. There's my earbud. I don't even need to hear anymore. But I'll end it really quick here so we're not spending the next 5 days listening to me talk. Squeetee.com, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch. Really my big place I put stuff up is YouTube. And I haven't been doing too much lately. I've been so busy with so many other things. Like 2 days a week, weeknights, I'm doing stuff with my son for school, and all work as usual is brutal. And then I'm like I said at the start, I'm remodeling my basement. So it's like I just don't have time. And then like every other, I lose. And then weekends I'm going to my doing stuff, going to the family, helping them out, and it's a little difficult to maintain a streaming profile when I have a normal 8-hour job that usually turns into a 10-hour job Monday through Friday, and then even weekends I'm working. I can't believe I didn't get a call today while I was streaming for emergency. I just seem to get beat up whenever I do, so this is a miracle. But anyways, guys, that's all. I'm done blabbing. Please follow me, subscribe, all that stuff. When Ashes comes out officially, I will have time by then to dedicate to streaming and producing videos and whatever I feel like doing at that time. It's just real hard for me to make videos and talk to a screen about some little gossip that popped up in Discord. I'd rather be in the action for showing it off to you people. So anyways, thanks again, guys. I appreciate it. I will catch you all later.